You're selling a product. You're providing an experience. And you're providing experience for what they think is my people, my comic book people. And I constantly say to new owners, you already have them. Why are you creating a store for them? They're going to come anyway. You need to create a store for the other people who come in and want to stay, who are drawn in by this new experience. You're creating a shop for them. You're creating a shop for women who are, right now, 51% of the growth market in comics. 51% of the growth market are women. That means my store has to be geared towards the women's shopping experience. Do you know what the women's shopping experience is? No, you don't. You might think you do, but you don't. There's research that's developed over the last 80 years that you can read about that are all about the psychology of women shopping. And you can take that information and collate it and go, okay, it has to be clean. It has to be open because women need space when they shop. It has to be bright. It has to have soft music. It has to have some kind of female employees so they're comfortable. It has to have the type of product that speaks to them in a certain way, that they want to come back and back and back.
We're really not affiliated with Geeks and Gamers as far as I'm concerned. I really just want to make that clear.
Morales has his own background.
I love the last show.
I love the last show.
We're about inclusiveness and we want new people in.
Chinese. I don't understand.
The Fandom Initiative.
How do you do, fellow kids?
Re-educate me? They're more than welcome to try.
Do it.
So called.
I don't get offended by shit.
Don't.
Wait, why did it stop? Oh, what the fuck are you looking at? What the fuck are you looking at? Subscribe and like this video. Back to it.
Oh, Turf, you're crazy, man. Crazy guy. Fucking TurfNation,
I have
man.
not seen that clip before. That was funny.
What clip? That's Turf. He's here with
What?
us live.
Yes.
Yeah.
True. Yeah. It's really well cut out. Yes.
Look,
how you doing?
I'm not good, man, because people are talking about canceling pigs, and I love bacon. So no thanks.
Mm. Yeah, that's true. Bacon is pretty yummy. But hey, you know what? Did you guys hear about this Doctor Who show?
Yeah, it's a spinoff of Chicago Hope.
I believe so. Yes. It's a medical drama. It's a brand new show, just started. This had its first episode. We invited on a guest to talk about it. We have Mr. TARDIS here. How you doing, man?
Yeah, good. Thank you. Thank you for having me on the live stream. It's great to talk with you all about a show that honestly I've never really seen much of it before. I'm hoping you folks will be able to clue me in.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
We're learning about it right here. Yeah.
The blind leading to blind.
Yes.
Best way to do it.
Yes. So I thought to open up today. I put together some trivia. You guys want to dive right in?
Sure.
Yeah, let's go.
All right. Let's see. Let's see. We got 3 of us here, so let's all go in. I guess any volunteers go first?
Guest first. You know.
Okay. So our categories will be, I mean, obviously they're right here. Classic Who, Marvel Comics, New Who, MCU, and Destroyed by Wokeness. Now, a qualifier on Destroyed by Wokeness. Everything in this column is correct if you're a toxic fan.
Okay. If it's me first, then I'll take Classic Who for 400.
Ooh, Classic Who for 400, going for a big one. In which episode did the TARDIS's chameleon circuit get jammed forever onward, making a police box?
An Unearthly Child.
Yep, that is correct.
That's what I was going to say too. Shit.
Otherwise known as the Tribe of Gum, which the writer or the co-writer's son, Steph Coburn, is very, very adamant on calling it. I don't know if you've been following all of that drama.
No, I missed that one.
We might dive into that one later because that's a massive tangent.
All right. Who's going next? Volunteers?
I'll go.
All right.
Let's just randomly, I don't know, MCU for 400.
All right. Who played Malekith in Thor: The Dark World?
Shit. It's Doctor Who did, right?
Well, maybe.
He was the doctor, the Christopher Eccleston.
Yep. All right, DJ.
That MCU thing stayed up. The 400.
Oh, that's weird. Yeah, that's Oh yeah, I probably didn't. Okay, there we go.
I'm notoriously bad at this game. We have played this before. This online Jeopardy thing. Not great. So let's do Destroyed by Wokeness 100. We'll do an easy
100.
One, so.
Oh, okay. Which MCU actress famously hates all white men?
Brie Larson.
What?
I really feel like I'm failing by not having a drop of as going Brie Larson.
Brie Larson. Yeah.
True.
Brie.
All right, Mr. TARDIS.
So I'll go out my comfort zone. I'll take Marvel Comics for 300.
Which character that first appeared in 1939 is commonly known as Marvel's first mutant?
I want to say the Human Torch.
All right. Anybody want to steal this?
Namor, the Submariner.
Yeah.
Oh, of course. I overthought it.
Well, you're probably thinking the first character, which would have been right. But
yeah,
Namor was shortly after that, and he was
All right, Dane.
Fucking Destroyed by Wokeness for 300.
Which famous story retconned and destroyed all of Doctor Who canon? The first retcon in the show's 50-year plus run history.
It was probably one of these recent episodes, these specials, right? I just don't know the name of them. I feel like I've seen some talk like that.
Yeah,
but I don't know the names of the episodes. I'm sorry.
Anybody want to steal?
I can steal that. The Timeless Children.
You got it. Yeah. Let's see.
Was I right that it was a recent one, or was it an older one?
Yeah. It was from I mean, the huge hint was about how it's first retcon in 50-year plus. Doctor Who's been running on retcons for a while.
Right.
Let's see. Who was that? That was Dane. So DJ.
Let's do MCU for 500. I'm gonna regret this, I know, but
Where does the Watcher make his first appearance?
It's an end credit scene. Jeez, which movie was it? I'm not sure. I want to say Love and Thunder. No. Ragnarok.
Who wants to steal?
So it was Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah.
I knew it was an end credit scene, but those all blur for me. So.
Yes, math is very tricky. All right.
Usually, I just hit the plus button on that, and it usually does it automatically. You don't have to type it in.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, you could probably do that. Okay. TARDIS.
Okay. I'll take classic Who for 500.
Which Doctor Who actor has uniquely also appeared in Star Trek and Star Wars? And this is double points.
Oh, God. I think I know his name. No, I think I know the character. Isn't it the guy who played... Oh, God. Jeremy something? Nah. No.
Oh.
I pass, yeah. I don't know.
Anybody want to steal this one?
I'm not going to be able to get it, but I'm curious. Does it mean like actor who played the Doctor, or just an actor on Doctor Who?
Just an actor who has been in all three.
Yeah,
Okay.
I have no clue.
I think he's in. He played the character of Boba Fett, not the voice, the on-set actor for Boba Fett in Empire Strikes Back. I think that's it. That's who it is.
Okay. I think everybody's drawn a blank on this one. It is Deep Roy. He was in Classic Who, as well as also in Star Trek. He's in the reboots as Scotty's buddy, and then Star Wars. I don't remember who he plays in Star Wars.
That's a good question, though. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was trying to get this to where it wasn't, the comments weren't covering up Mr. TARDIS, but I guess it doesn't work that way.
It's fine. I can be obscure.
That was TARDIS. So it's you, Dane.
MCU. No, sorry. Let me do Marvel Comics 400.
What was Thanos' goal when he wiped out half of all life in the universe?
To get laid by death.
I mean, you're not completely wrong, but like, yeah. Okay, you got it. Yeah.
He was simping,
Death. Death is literally capitalized. Yeah. To court the embodiment of death. See, that is. So can I hit plus here? Oh, okay. So does it by 100? So 2. Oh, wait. Okay. No, wait. That's accurate. Okay. I'm learning. DJ.
Let's do wokeness for 500.
Which producer at Disney secretly runs all of Hollywood with her insidious added chick and make her gay and lame agenda?
I mean, we all hate her. Kathleen Kennedy. I mean, we all hate this woman. She's
yeah.
Awful.
She's ruined everything she's ever worked on.
Yes, true.
It wasn't like she was part of all the old films as well. She's brand new. Never done anything before.
She wasn't in the room when they created Indiana Jones. Come on.
She's one of those recent diversity hires who only turned up like 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
She definitely hasn't earned her way anywhere. Yeah. TARDIS.
Okay, New Who for 400.
Time Lords typically have 12 regenerations, allowing 13 incarnations. Who played this 13th incarnation of the Doctor?
Do you want the pedantic answer or the actual answer? Jodie Whittaker.
The one in the story. The one.
Jodie Whittaker's the 13th Doctor.
Well, I'm talking about the one in the story in canon.
Is that different?
Okay. Okay, I'll still lock in Jodie Whittaker.
Yeah. Okay. It is Matt Smith.
Okay. So it was the pedantic answer. Okay.
Well, it's like they made a big deal in the story about it, so that I was trying to frame it like it's in the story. Yeah.
I trusted the good faith, but no, but no.
Yeah, no,
No,
technically
no.
Jodie Whittaker is the 13th, but then you get like War Doctor and stuff like that. Yeah, it gets wonky. It gets
wibbly.
Dane. Yes, wibbly.
Let's do freaking MCU for 300.
In Spider-Man No Way Home, who is Peter 3?
Well, I'm guessing. I really don't know how they decided to number these. So if it's in order of appearance in the film, it would be technically Peter 1, Tobey Maguire, but I don't know. It could also be Tom Holland if they're just going in order of like chronological Spider-Mans. So I'm gonna say that they went.
It's what they labeled themselves in the movie.
Oh shit! Then I maybe didn't see that movie but twice. So it's gonna be Andrew Garfield.
Andrew Garfield is correct.
Yes.
All right. DJ.
Let's do Marvel Comics for 200.
Which superhero team got a soft reboot in 1975 with a diverse version of this team that hadn't had a news story published in 5 years?
This is a hard one. I mean, I don't know this one at all. Could it be, just going to guess, the X-Men, maybe?
Or maybe. Yes. TARDIS.
I'll take Destroyed by Wokeness for 400.
Which very famous comic book that was definitely published and definitely accurately represents all modern comic books features characters such as Safe Space, Snowflake, and Trailblazer?
Thing is, I can picture the covers, but I don't recall the name of the run.
They love using their images.
They do. Oh, it's God. Why did I pick this for 400? No, pass. I can't even. I almost said Fables, but it's definitely not Fables. No,
it's if I can steal, it is the Infamous, and it's still ongoing. They just won't let it die. It's actually like it has like 4 titles now that come out monthly. One of them comes out bi-monthly.
Apparently, yeah.
It's called New Warriors, and Snowflake and Safe Space. They each have their own solo series. It's crazy, man. No,
it's definitely not. It's definitely something that was definitely published. It definitely happened, guys.
It is a thing that exists.
Yes.
For anyone that's not aware, that is a complete freaking sarcasm. That's not a comic that came out.
It never got released, but they act like it's like all modern comics. Dane, it's to you. And
let's just do Marvel Comics 500. Why not?
All right, this is a double. Who were the original Avengers as seen in Avengers #1, published September 1963?
It's going to be Iron Man, Thor, Hulk, Ant-Man. He might have been going by Giant Man. I forget. Wasp. That's it.
And you got it. I think you're doing okay, Dane.
Oh shit! I just didn't look at my score till just now. Whoops.
DJ.
I don't know anything about classic Doctor Who. That's the one that I know the least about. But I feel like Mr. TARDIS is going to get all the new Who stuff right. So,
to be fair, I couldn't even name the 13th Doctor.
Yeah, I guess. Let's do.
Well, you got the 13th Doctor, but yeah, it gets weird.
Yeah, let's actually. I'm gonna stay away from that category. Let's close out Destroyed by Wokeness for 200.
Ooh. This actress destroyed the all-important white male legacy of Doctor Who.
Is that Jodie Whittaker?
Yes.
Yeah. Damn her.
For the record, I think we should have given Mr. TARDIS that one that was like kind of technically a trick question. You know,
it's in the storyline that way, though. That's why I worded it very weird. That's why.
Okay, I'll take New Who for 500.
Ooh. Hold on. Which singer appeared in one episode of the Doctor Who as a companion?
Kylie Minogue.
Ooh,
yep.
So good. Love Kylie.
She's been doing some
Dane.
press recently saying that she'd like to come back. So
Please do. Please
that'd be
do.
fun. And I don't think she's aged a day. She's
No,
looking
she's like
looking
ageless.
phenomenally well.
Not only that, but you know, in Hollywood, it's notoriously, you know, you see people that go overboard with like facelifts and Botox and stuff. She doesn't look like she's had any of that. She just looks absolutely beautiful.
Should I mean, I guess I could just like for the hell of it take a. That might be condescending if I choose a Who category though. So
Yeah, I'm here.
let me do MCU 200.
Which actor has reprised their character the most in the MCU?
Oh, that's it's a tricky one, maybe. I mean, I guess you just got to say Robert Downey Jr.
Anybody want to steal it?
I'll go for Jeremy Renner.
Samuel L. Jackson.
Oh man,
that's probably right.
Yeah.
Mr. TARDIS got it.
Yeah, I was gonna say I had a couple of names. That was one of the other ones bobbing around in my head, and I'm like, I don't know, but maybe Secret Invasion probably put him over the edge.
Mm-hmm.
And then
the Marvels and let's see, DJ.
We got a couple 100s on the board. Let's do the Marvel comics for 100.
Which famous comic book features the first appearance of Spider-Man?
Let me read the chat.
Look, I don't want to. Let's talk about Eichel.
Oh my god! So I believe that is Amazing Fantasy 15, correct?
Oh shit! I can't believe you knew that obscure fact.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
16, 17? I don't know.
TARDIS.
Hey, I'll take New Who for 300, please.
How many times has the Doctor regenerated into David Tennant?
3 times.
I was gonna say, how up to date is this?
Yeah, well, I did like 4. Like, I don't understand bioregeneration. I don't know if you want to count that.
I would.
Like,
I personally, I wouldn't
of,
count the
but
bioregeneration, but
yeah, it's wonky. Definitely 3 times though.
but thank you for the wiggle room.
Dane.
Well, I guess we'll just do MCU 100.
Which actor was the first to reprise their character in more than one MCU film?
Robert Downey Jr.
Yep. DJ.
Let's do New Who for 100. It's the only one that I would really have a chance on.
Who plays the current incarnation of the Doctor?
Current. Oh, this is tough because I just watched the most recent stuff, so I don't know the answer. We'll say David Tennant, I guess. I know it's no. It's Ncuti Gatwa, right? Isn't he the new one?
Yep.
Okay.
Is that how you say that? Okay.
Yeah, it's Ncuti Gatwa. TARDIS.
Okay. Okay, I've done some quick math. It is statistically unlikely that I'll be able to catch up to Dane, but I'll still take Classic Who for 300.
Okay, we got a couple more questions.
Let me know if the math is right there.
Which Doctor was the first to use the sonic screwdriver?
Second Doctor, Patrick Troughton.
That is correct. Dane.
Oh boy. Let's do Classic Who for 100.
Which actor has played the Doctor more than any other person?
David Tennant?
That would be my answer.
TARDIS, you want to steal it?
Well, oh, it's not Tennant.
No. Well, this is Classic Who too.
Oh, so in terms of like episode count?
Yes.
Oh, Tom Baker.
Yep.
Yeah.
Let's see. That was Dane.
Catching up fast, Dane. Catching up fast.
Yeah, almost there.
Who is it? Whose go is it?
It's yours, DJ.
Oh, well, let's do New Who. That's the only thing I have a shot.
I don't know what I was thinking.
Who is the wife, the doctor?
Oh no, I can't remember. Are we talking about characters or actors?
It's character.
Oh, what is their name? I'm gonna pass on this one because I don't know the name of the character. So
I saw the answer in chat, and I know that now. I remember this, but I'm not going to use that because I saw the answer in chat. So
TARDIS.
Okay, so River Song.
I was gonna say, I mean,
Yep.
he's the chat or not, he's gonna know the answer to that one.
All right. So yeah, this is to TARDIS, right? So Classic Who 200. TARDIS is an acronym for what?
Oh.
Time and relative dimension in space.
That is correct.
Gotta admit.
The proper way to end the Jeopardy match.
Worked out
Yes,
quite
I
well.
I would have been pretty disappointed there if you hadn't got that one.
Yeah, that's wild. Was that planned?
Yeah.
Was that planned?
Yeah.
What up, Panini?
I don't know. So, yeah, I how you guys doing?
Doing very well, thank you.
Yeah. So, Mr. TARDIS, you have a YouTube channel. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so I'm Mr. TARDIS. I've got a YouTube channel where I talk all things Doctor Who and general media advocacy. I'm a freelancer in the TV and film industry in the UK. Been working there for about 7 or 8 years, so I approach it from a different point of view. Not just one of the fans, shouting behind a keyboard. I'm actually working on the sets, so I like to think it makes me a little bit more understanding when things go a bit weird. But so that's kind of the approach that I take it from. And I've been a fan of the show since it came back in 2005 with Christopher Eccleston and Billy Piper. Christopher Eccleston is my doctor. That's like the fan term. Who is your doctor? Eccleston is mine. And it didn't take me long for me to dive into the classic series. I mainly do in-depth reviews of the classic series and the revival. I've recently finished a big review marathon of the first Doctor, played by William Hartnell, reviewing the current specials, and every so often I'll dip my toe into reactionary outrage and reactionary responses to Doctor Who and media in general, which can sometimes be very, very fun, and sometimes it's very confusing. Frequently both at the same time.
Wait, does Doctor Who have reactionary reactions to it? I haven't noticed any.
No, well, it's interesting because it's not just online grifters. There are sometimes actual politicians and people in positions of authority who have disapproving thoughts of the show. There was an MP, a member of parliament, a couple of years ago, Nick Fletcher, who stood up on International Men's Day and said that the erasure of men in media to be replaced by women, citing Ghostbusters, Star Wars, Doctor Who, was not only causing an increase in crime in the UK, but specifically an increase in stabbings.
Oh my God.
And,
yes, I see the connection there. Sure, it makes total sense.
Yes, and of course, and he also cited James Bond as an example of a character who's been replaced by a woman, aka something that hasn't happened. So he said it's an increase in crime, an increase in stabbings, and he won his election by like a majority of around 700, or a very razor-thin majority. So I don't think Nick Fletcher's making it to a second term as a member of parliament, but we'll see.
Mm-hmm. I will say, diving a little bit into like the little bit of reactionary content I've gotten to in Doctor Who, I'm kind of amazed how I'm sure you've noticed it too, how offended they are by apparently Davros being walking before his accident in a 5-minute short on YouTube. Do you have thoughts on that one?
It was particularly interesting seeing reactions from people like Nerdrotic and Heel versus Babyface, who a couple of years ago there was an episode called The Halloween Apocalypse, where there was an actress in it called Nadia Albina, She's a disabled actress. She's got one arm, but she's like a veteran TV actor of stage and screen, Royal Shakespeare Company, super qualified, great actress. And obviously, I'm not saying that you have to be super qualified and work at the Royal Shakespeare Company for 15 years to be in Doctor Who. But like, this is she's not a diversity hire in a conventional sense, if that makes sense. And Nerdrotic and Hill versus Babyface was super indignant and visibly uncomfortable talking about her in their reaction to the episode. So for them to get all indignant and super defensive about this Davros, they say it's a retcon, but it's not. It's a prequel to before Davros was in his accident, similar to the Star Wars prequels before Darth Vader gets all burnt to a crisp and becomes a little chicken nugget, and then has to go into the suit and everything. So so it was super interesting seeing them try to thread that needle and walk that tightrope of disabled people shouldn't be in media, but also we're really defensive about this particular representation.
The Davros representation is questionable. That's still.
Yeah, and it's a 5-minute short for charity as well of dubious canonicity. You can ignore it if you want. You can take it super seriously, but it's been interesting seeing the quote backlash to recent episodes and just how little material they have to work with. Like I did a nearly 2-hour video, like going through just different random reaction channels and such, and same arguments, same points over and over again, the same like minute of dialogue in a hour-long special. It kind of shows that the recent run of Doctor Who, despite being super woke and broke, etc., is giving them very little to actually work with.
Yeah, they do love to scrape what they can.
They
I just
love chuds find a way. They figure something out.
Here's a 5-second dialogue clip. This destroys all of canon now. We have to be outraged about it and make 20 videos. I feel like that's the general rule of thumb.
So somebody in chat had asked about this, and I was curious as well, because I remember that I don't know if you know our friend Pillar of Garbage, if you've heard of him, but he had a comment under a video he did about Nerdrotic recently that was kind of kind of wild. And it was, let's see. So for those that don't know, almost 4 years ago, Nerdrotic invited an open white supremacist, Bolstrek, guy who said this, Jim, in the good old days, cities like London and Toronto were mostly white, but now they've become a victim of massive social experiment. Goal of experiments, wipe out white Christians. And that they were apparently doing a little bit of a Jewish questioning in relation to the show. Is any of that, does that seem like that's an accurate description of him? Or
yes, if anything, that's actually kind of understating it. Bolstrek is somebody who kind of came out of nowhere in 2018 to do super white supremacist, like neo-Nazi reviews of Doctor Who, which is that's a strange demographic to hit, but he somehow managed to. And it's interesting because that particular review was for an episode called Demons of the Punjab, which is an episode where the Doctor and the companions go back to the partition of India. And in my opinion, it's one of the better episodes in recent years. It's written by Vinay Patel, terrific writer, award winner, who's written incredibly great, like high-profile TV dramas in the UK. This individual who Nerdrotic invited on is called Bolstrek, called Vinay Patel a diversity writer, a category writer hire or something. Like, once again, you can be super qualified, super adept at writing, win awards and such, but you're still a diversity hire if you're not white. But that review that he did was so mask off racist and so openly neo-Nazi-ish that he actually got a backlash from his own audience and wound up deleting the video.
Wow.
Really?
As somebody who makes a brand on triggering the libs or whatever, it's kind of strange for him to delete a video and then say, oh, it upset a load of people, so I deleted it. Like, no, aren't you meant to lean into that sort of thing? But Nerdrotic has invited him onto his live streams numerous times. He's a pretty flagrant, open neo-Nazi, Jewish question stuff. In the recent video that I did, I reacted to his review of the Star Beast, and he's actually, and this isn't a reaction video, it's a written, edited review that he then records the script for, so he can edit it out if he wanted to. But there are moments of him looking at the background of scenes to figure out how many extras are white. Like, oh, there's white actors who are saying this. And not only that, I actually missed this on my video. One of the actors who is like, oh, there's so many white extras, you can't have this in media anymore. The main guy isn't white, he's Asian. But like he's like white passing, for lack of a better term. But it's like, oh, okay. So like he's unironically doing erasure. It's weird. He's like looking in the background extras, finding out how many of them are whites. He's like, he cannot view Doctor Who or media in general outside of the lens of race in a really blatant way that I think it's quite mentally debilitating to view media in that way. And it kind of shows. The guy's unhinged.
Yeah, it doesn't sound a whole lot different from a lot of these guys like Nerdrotic and stuff. Maybe a little bit more overt with it, but
yeah, I feel like we deal with that a lot.
Yeah, it's interesting as well. Just like how it is like an echo chamber as well. They invite each other onto each other's streams and just to regurgitate the same points. There one stream with Nerdrotic and Bolstrek. They're reviewing Fugitive of the Jadoon. And Bolstrek is like, oh, and of course a white dude is the villain, and everyone's like, yeah, how terrible. Fugitive of the Jadoon categorically, objectively does not have a white male villain character. The villains of that story is a woman of color and a rhino person. So he makes up this white male villain to get angry at, and then the whole live stream gets indignant about the white man bashing. They just invent a character to get angry at, and the whole live chat, the commenters and stuff just kind of roll along with it, which is the most perplexing part of the whole operation to me.
Do you think that they are betting on the ignorance of the chat when it comes to a lot of this? Because it seems like the pushback from the chat is very little because they're kind of wrapped up in the moment.
I think they are. I think people like Nerdrotic and Heelvis, not Heelvis because he's British, isn't he? I think his pronouns. I think he's British. Nerdrotic is American. I think a lot of his audience is American as well. They're just counting on people just not watching the media that they're talking about. Like basically every reaction and review is just full of like inaccuracies and stuff. And if you don't like the episode, then that's fine. If you don't like the show, that's fine. But you kind of get the sense that they're not even watching the media. Or we're talking about very different episodes or very different shows. Just a pretty blatant mischaracterization of the objective events of the episodes.
Well, I mean, I'm seeing that a lot with some of the Doctor Who reaction because, like I said, I've looked into the reaction of the Davros thing, which was really weird. But like I've seen people like I point out like, hey, this is clearly a prequel. It takes place before the accident, before Davros is in a wheelchair or whatever. So I don't see why it's an issue. And like I get people reacting like, what do you mean? The special was just behind the scenes talking about the creation of the episode. And I was just like, you do know, like, this was all just like a 5-minute short, right? Like, this isn't an actual episode. I find it fascinating how often they just, like, they go along. The fans just seem to go along, but don't actually know. Really
I think
at all. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the abstraction is the point. Like they have to, like, for people who don't follow Doctor Who or don't watch the show, which is fair enough, nobody's perfect. Yeah. But for people who are like, okay, they did a full-blown episode where they retconned Davros, and there was a recent episode where it's a 2-minute fun gag joke opening before the title sequence happens, and it's got Isaac Newton, the inventor of gravity, of course, and he's played by Nathaniel. Of Mavity. He's played by Nathaniel Curtis, who's worked with Russell T Davies before on It's a Sin a few years ago. Really great drama, and everyone just flips out because they cast a biracial actor as Isaac Newton. And I guarantee you that a lot of people walked away from those conversations who don't watch Doctor Who thinking that there was a full-blown 60-minute historical biopic episode about Isaac Newton, where it was a 2-minute gag pre-title sequence where Isaac Newton mishears the Doctor and Donna and says Mavity instead of gravity. So yeah,
and they talked about it like they actually like retconned history or something, right? Like that this is actually somehow erasing history.
Well, I was just gonna add, like, when I saw there was a reaction to that episode, I was like, how's there a reaction? That episode is just about essentially Donna and the Doctor being trapped on a space station with a robot and the ship, and like
Mm.
the villains in that are actually played by the Doctor and Donna as well. So like, how's every? Oh, the combi bit at the beginning. Wow, we're digging.
So
Yeah.
Danny Boy Joe here had said they Nerdrotic and RK have always been racist, and that may probably is true, but like at least Nerdrotic hasn't always presented himself that way. We like to show this clip.
Yeah, and I would say as prior to 2016 also didn't present themselves.
You know,
as racist.
I really dislike the fake geek thing and the poser nerd thing. That's not what we're about. We're about inclusiveness, and we want new people in. And if new people,
Yeah, classically
How times
Nerdrotic is
change.
about inclusiveness.
Yeah.
But it's also like not just the content of the reviews themselves and who he platforms. If you just look at the thumbnails of his most recent Doctor Who reviews,
God.
Yasmin Finney is depicted on like Dwayne the Rock Johnson's body. And
Right.
so obviously there's of course the transphobic element there. Oh, this person who obviously passes for a woman. There's no way you can look at Yasmin Finney and think, oh, that's a man. Like, no way, not in this universe.
Right.
But also it's the racial element as well. Like, black women are inherently manly, inherently masculine, and aren't feminine enough. So there's the obvious element there, even before you get to the review itself, the obvious racism of it.
Yeah. The other thing is, and the question that I ask quite often when I have interactions with people that follow these channels is, what harm would it be for any of these characters to be something other than what they were before? What's the harm in that? What's the harm in, women being present in these spaces? What's the harm in characters who are gay being in these spaces, people of color being in these spaces? I mean, if the answer boils down to racism or misogyny or homophobia, there's no other reason to be upset about it. And they just don't want to accept that. They don't want to even admit that. Right.
Yeah,
exactly.
cooties too.
Yeah, girls have cooties.
You don't want girl germs involved with your show. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I actually like watching stories that tell me, or I don't want to say teach me because I don't feel like it's a learning experience, but give me an opportunity to experience other people's lives in these moments because I've seen the same thing so many times that I like seeing things that are different. I like a variety of things. And it seems like a lot of these channels keep arguing they just want the same content over and over and over again. And it's quite baffling to me.
I mean, I will say I've found their narratives can get very redundant. And like, I almost feel like sometimes you can get a nice rinse and repeat quality. So it's like, oh, they're okay. So I know what they're saying because this character pops up. They're very predictable. Yeah.
There's a bit in my recent reaction video reacting to reactionaries who are complaining about the Star Beast, and when Bolstrek starts like talking about all of the white soldiers in the background, and I even stop and I say, there's a character who turns up later on who's wearing a turban, and he's not going to be happy about that. And then 5 minutes later, that exact same thing happens, and it is very predictable. You can see these talking points from Orbit. Like the moment you watch something in an episode, and it's like, okay, yep, this is what they're going to complain about. And sometimes they'll just complain about things that you never possibly saw coming because it's just so dumb.
I mean, that was what the Isaac Newton thing was for me. I was like, oh, that what? I forgot that even happened. It was just a joke. My God.
Yeah.
I guess to get away from the reaction stuff, like, how'd you get into Doctor Who?
So I started watching in 2005 with Christopher Eccleston and Billy Piper. I was a wee lad of 12 years old, not sure what I wanted to do with my life at that time. Very existential as a 12-year-old. And I watched the episodes, and there's a companion series called Doctor Who Confidential, which is a behind-the-scenes, like half-hour show at the end of every episode that breaks down how it was made, a proper good behind-the-scenes look. And after watching Confidential, I was like, okay, this is what I want to do. This is something that I can do in future. I can actually make this stuff and be involved in the production of it. So that was kind of the beginning of the rabbit hole there, which has eventually allowed me to work in the industry that I'm in now. And I remember after the broadcast of the Series 1 finale, The Parting of the Ways, when Christopher Eccleston regenerates into David Tennant, you have like a 6-month gap until the next episode, The Christmas Invasion. And because the BBC and everyone there had done such a great job at informing new viewers of this past like 40, 45 years of the show's history at that point. They were releasing DVDs, they were releasing books and compendiums about the classic series. So during that 6-month gap, you could just dive straight into the history of the show. There was a really well-organized and curated BBC website for Doctor Who, showing clips and trivia and knowledge of all of the show's episodes from the past. And basically, it was a perfect storm to create a bunch of obsessives who are still obsessed with the show to this day.
Yeah. Well, I didn't get in then. I got into it probably about 10 years ago. I think Matt Smith was the Doctor. Like I started watching with Eccleston too. I just started with New Who, and I was just like, oh, let's dive in. And like the cheesiness just really appealed to me at that moment. And yeah, I just enjoyed it. I like Eccleston. Like part of why I like about Eccleston is kind of he has this over face of like charm, but like there's like this like darkness like within him. And I really like that element that he brought to the character. But they all bring different elements. You said Eccleston's your Doctor. Is that your favorite or?
Yeah. He burnt quickly, but he burnt brightly. Yeah, he was only there for the 13 episodes, but yeah, it was the intensity of it as well. The intensity of that we hadn't really seen from previous incarnations, because it was a new century of TV serialized drama. It wasn't the same as it was back in the 60s, 70s, and the 80s. And to see the show to just be fronted by someone who, for all intents and purposes, could have been your dad. Like it's for everything from the northern Mancunian accent, like lots of planets have a north, and the battered leather jacket was a much needed departure from the question mark jumpers and the question mark collars of the 80s, which we can appreciate ironically, but you don't want to open with that in 2005. And it was just really great drama, really great TV, highly emotionally charged. The Daleks were terrific right out of the gate when they were brought back. Yeah, it was just such a terrific 13 episode run that in terms of like beginning to end blocks of Doctor Who, in terms of seasons, still one of the best nearly 20 years later.
Yeah, well, I think it's interesting because like the Daleks are so like, it's one of those things like if you don't know Doctor Who and you look at a Dalek, you're like, that's the villain. It's all based on how well it's written. Like can they sell this as a villain? And like they do it so often. Like the little plunger arm somehow works.
Yeah, like even in the 80s and the 90s, the Daleks were like an object of mockery and parody. They're like Hamlet cigar adverts where a Dalek is like lighting up a match to smoke a cigarette with it. And there's a Kit Kat advert where the Daleks are like having a break. They're chanting peace and love as they're going down a conga line. It's they were an item of parody. But then in 2005, one of the first things we see him do is use that sink plunger to squash a guy's face and crush it.
Yeah.
And you can it's that subversion, and it's taking what could have been just another pop culture icon, but ironically an ironic piece of iconography, and making it scary again.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's fantastic.
I remember the most memorable villains in Doctor Who for me are the Weeping Angels. Those things freak me out. Like as an adult, I even have moments where it's like I think about that and how frightening that would actually be to have to deal with something like that. It's every once in a while they do creepy, like also the episode, I think this is classic Who. I was a late bloomer. I started watching Doctor Who with David Tennant. That's like when the episodes that got me into it. And so I've done a little rewinding, and I was telling Bob here before you jumped in that it's very daunting because there was such a big gap between classic Who and modern Who. And I was like, do I go back and watch all the old stuff before I come back and watch the new stuff? I wasn't really sure how to get into it. But yeah, like the Daleks never really scared me. I always saw them as sort of like a funny type thing. But the Weeping Angels and there was an episode, I'm trying to remember which one it was, with these kids in it, like these children. It was a scary episode. And I just remember watching it and thinking that's pretty creepy.
Did they have gas masks on their faces?
Yes, that's it. That's the episode. Yeah. That one's the one. Yeah.
That's from the first series with Eccleston. Yeah.
Yeah. That was a rough one.
Well, I mean,
but both of those are written by Stephen Moffat as well, who was
Yeah, I was going to say
Oh,
Moffat introduced some really creepy stuff. Like the other villain, like I think are Weeping Angels Tenet? I think Weeping Angels are Tenet.
Yeah.
But like I think he also introduced the Silence under Matt Smith. Those were the aliens that you can those were creepy, like brilliant things behind the scene that you can't see unless certain situations. It's been a while since I've seen it, but I remember that being creepy as hell too.
Yeah, Moffat's really good at like particularly for children, like the primal fears of like one of the villains he created was the Clockwork Androids, where there's like this loud ticking noise in this room, and you think it's like the clock on the side that's the one that's ticking, but it turns out no, the clock has been smashed. So where is the ticking coming from? And it's this android under the bed. It's and stuff like, and he plays with sound so effectively as well. In that Empty Child episode with the gas mask zombie children, they're listening to a tape recording of another doctor who is interviewing the child, and the child's just going, "Are you my mummy? I want my mummy." But then the tape runs out, and you can hear the of the tape like running on empty, but you can still hear a child asking for its mummy. So it's in the room. It's really good, like effective, scary stuff. That works for pre-Watershed TV, intended for family audiences, but often pushes against the line in like really good ways.
I guess, do you have any? You brought up your favorite Doctor. Do you have any favorite Doctor Who companions?
I really like Martha Jones, played by Freema Rajaman in series 3.
I always thought, I was just gonna add, I felt like she never got a fair shot.
It was kind of difficult narratively for her because she is following on from Billie Piper as Rose, who was like hyped up as the most important companion in Doctor Who history. So all of a sudden, just to have like a medical student, I have to follow Rose after that, and the Doctor is still like pining for Rose and still missing her and everything. And like every so often, he'll just be like, "Oh no, well, what do we do to get out of this?" Oh, Rose would know. Rose knows everything, and Martha's just like, "God, this guy." So it was like she was really good. She was like an early favorite of mine. And going back to the classic series, there's Jamie McCrimmon, who is this Scottish Highlander. Who's like the definitive second Doctor companion, who's still like playing the character to this day in like Big Finish audios. And he and Patrick Troughton had like such great camaraderie and chemistry with each other. There's a great moment where they bring on another companion called Victoria, who's this orphan girl from Victorian England, and they're going to like lead her into this dark cave, and they're like, "Oh, come on, Victoria." So they go to like grab her hand to hold her hand to guide her in, but they end up holding each other's hands, and it's like it's just really fun. And apparently that was improvised by the actors on set as well. Like just really lovely moments of like physical comedy from them.
Well, I've seen the second Doctor because a lot of it's lost, unfortunately, but like I remember the second Doctor and Jamie having great like chemistry together. They worked so well. Like actually, you probably named my favorite of the classic companions. That's probably Jamie. I
see some love for Ace in the chat as well. Ace played by Sophie Aldred, who's like the baseball bat wielding, like rebellious teenager who got into a fight with a platoon of Daleks and Cybermen and basically won with a magically infused baseball bat. And if you've seen Remembrance of the Daleks, one of the best stories of the 1980s, also a heavily politically charged story as well. There's a lot of going on in that story in terms of racial politics in Britain's 1960s history. But let's ignore that. The show is never political. But it does also have a scene of Ace smashing up Daleks with a baseball bat.
I'm real basic. My favorite was Donna. That's my favorite companion. But
I think Donna is probably the most popular of the new series. Even though Rose was hyped up, I feel like Donna has kind of been more popular than her.
Well, Catherine Tate completely surprised everybody in terms of just being such a great dramatic talent. Like she was basically just known as a comedian from the Catherine Tate show in the early 2000s. And then all of a sudden she's cast in Doctor Who, and we had no idea that she was such a dramatic force. Doctor Who's got a really good track record of casting comedians who turn out to be really good actors.
Yeah.
She ended up doing a show recently that I watched about women in prison, but I think it only had one series. It's only like 4 or 5 episodes long. Anyway, she plays multiple characters in the show. It's just quite good, actually. I really enjoyed it. And I only knew of her through Doctor Who. I don't know anything about her previous work, so.
Yes, yes. And Gabriel is, of course, naming the best character of all time is Wilf. How dare we not mention that?
Yes.
I think he's
Rest
traveled
in
to
peace,
Doctor as
Bernard
well. So
Cribbins.
I think he's technically a companion. Yeah. Let's see. I'm brain farting. DJ, anything you want to throw at him?
Well, Mr. TARDIS, what inspired you to start up your channel in general? Or have you always wanted to do content like this, or was this something that just kind of grew organically?
So yeah, I started at the beginning of the Matt Smith era. Like I was aware of YouTube and YouTube reviews and stuff like towards the late 2000s, but it was when Matt Smith's first series came out, and there were a lot of opinions on Victory of the Daleks, which is when they had their big controversial colorful redesign. And at the time, I liked the redesign. I thought they looked really, really cool.
Yeah.
And I was on forums and I was like trying to defend them and stuff. But when you're on a forum, it's like throwing a message in a bottle in an ocean full of messages and bottles. So it would kind of just get buried. And I want to have a conversation, but like it's just a storm of people and no one's really talking. So I thought I'd start a YouTube channel. I had Windows Movie Maker and a £6 PC World microphone. And absolutely no editing skills. Arguably, I still don't have editing skills, but yeah. And I did my first review of Victory of the Daleks, and then was able to do reviews of the rest of Series 5, and it kind of started from that, really. So it was because it was basically because I was very opinionated and I wanted people to listen to me. And you know what? 12 years later, it's still not changed. But I like to think I'm a little bit more calm and rational about it. Like a lot of my early stuff is, inspired by the same people who inspired everyone, really. People like Angry Video Game Nerd, Nostalgia Critic, stuff like that. So, there's that sort of like cheesiness that is like, obviously, for many people, including myself, has aged poorly. But it took me like a few years to find my own style and approach to it. So I'd say if you want something that's more indicative of the work that I do now, the William Hartnell reviews that I've spent the past year doing, the current specials, basically the more recent, the better for me, at least in terms of the videos that I do. But I do want to revisit those Series 5 episodes and give them a proper in-depth look, because those.
So you're thinking of going back? You're gonna go back and redo those? You think?
At some point, yeah, because those initial reviews were done on Windows Movie Maker and were like 5 or 7 minutes long, and now it's weird if one of my reviews doesn't reach half an hour. So that's yeah, there's definitely more to dive in there. Like I'm also just like 12, 13 years older, wiser, and smarter, arguably. So yeah, and it'd be interesting to know what I think about those stories with a different perspective now that the Stephen Moffat and the Matt Smith era of the show is wound down and we can fully contextualize it now. Because it's interesting reviewing stories as they're coming out week to week, but then it's like it's why I prefer the retrospective look backs. I'm able to look at the whole William Hartnell era or classic eras of the show as its own bubble, as its own moment in culture, and also as its own thing, and be able to like anticipate changes to the creative team, kind of see the seeds that are being sown for certain characters, whereas you can't really do that in the moment. But it's also great to look back on classic Doctor Who because it also echoes British and TV media history in general. Like some of the big name guest stars that they got in the 1960s, and it's people like I've never heard of these people, but in the 60s these were massive names. And it also doesn't help that so much of 60s TV is like just been wiped, like it was never there. Like so much of classic Doctor Who was the films were erased or thrown out. Some of them were sold abroad and then subsequently destroyed. There's one story called the Reign of Terror, based on the French Revolution, and some of those stories were known to have survived, but were destroyed in the Cypriot Civil War when a TV station was destroyed by bombing and artillery fire. So it's like these stories could have been there, but they were destroyed. One story, Doctor Who's first Christmas special, The Feast of Stephen, which is a mad episode where the first Doctor is slightly racist, and at the end he turns to the camera and is like, "Merry Christmas to all of you at home." Unfortunately, we know that episode has definitely been destroyed because it was never sold abroad, because it was a Christmas special that has nothing to do with the episodes around it, so it wasn't meant to be sold abroad to be shown in Australia or Sierra Leone and other territories. So we know that one's gone forever, which is a shame because it's Doctor Who's first Christmas special.
I actually didn't know they did Christmas specials before.
Yeah, I was going to say that's a little surprising. I had no idea.
It was Christmas 1965. There was a 12-parter, 12 parts called The Daleks Master Plan, and basically the Doctor Who's Saturday tea time slot wound up being on Christmas Day, and they thought audiences are not going to be watching on Christmas Day, they're going to be doing other things, so let's do a throwaway episode where it technically is part of the Daleks Master Plan, but it's a middle chapter. I think it's part 7, and let's just have them do a weird run around in a TV movie studio, and there's like a Charlie Chaplin impersonator and stuff. Yeah, so it's a weird one. It's not what we'd call conventionally a Christmas special, but at the end, the Doctor does turn into look down the barrel of the camera and says, "Merry Christmas to all of you at home." And then next week they go back to fighting Daleks, and it's very, very dark and intense.
Of course.
Sorry, Bob. I didn't mean to cut you off there.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, the interesting thing for me, and I'm curious on your perspective with this, the original Doctor Who, I guess the classic Who, was it primarily intended for younger viewers? Is that what the show was initially, or?
Yes. So please stop me if I ramble on. I do tend to do this, but because the BBC is a public service broadcaster, we actually have so much of the documentation and so much of the paperwork surrounding the creation of Doctor Who. So we actually know that so much of the ethos of the show was conjured up by a group of individuals in the early 1960s to create an educational show for families and also for children. So parents can watch it with their kids. So it was designed as a family show first and foremost, but also as an educational show where you've got these two school teachers, Ian and Barbara, one of whom is played by William Russell, who is still alive. He's like 98, 99 years old.
Wow.
What a chad. These two school teachers, one of them was a history teacher, one of them was a science teacher, and they would there's a weird student called Susan who has weird unearthly knowledge about her, and she's able to she goes through history books and it's like, that's not how it happened, and stuff like that. So they follow her home in the dead of night, which is this 1960s, so it was a different time. And they follow her to a junkyard where there is a police telephone box. They follow her inside and discover that she is the granddaughter of this alien called the Doctor, this enigmatic old man played by William Hartnell. And he was meant to be the crotchety, eccentric old man played by the high-profile, interesting actor. And you've got the young teenage girl who gets into scrapes and doesn't know anything. So that's the dynamic of the show. You've got these teachers who are learning about science and history throughout time and space. The Doctor is the character with the mystery who takes them there. And Susan is the one who gets into trouble. So that's that was the long-winded way of saying partly educational, but it took them a couple of years for them to realize that the historical stories, while they were very good at making them because they were able to raid the BBC props warehouses and the costumes and the studios and stuff, they were very good at making them, but they didn't quite draw in audiences as much as the spacefaring stuff. The show was almost cancelled 14 episodes in, but the rating success of the Daleks, going from like 6 or 7 million viewers to about 10 million viewers almost overnight, is what ensured Doctor Who continuing on. And then by the time you get to Patrick Troughton a few years later, basically there's 1 or 2 historicals, and then the rest of it is just base under siege stories, sci-fi monsters, the Cybermen, Crotons, the Macra, which is the Macra Terror is basically George Orwell's 1984, but with giant crabs. It's amazing. I highly recommend the Macra Terror.
Yeah, the second Doctor has always been one of my favorites. I just like how he did something completely different, and that's kind of I always feel like, you know, you want to talk about retcons. Obviously, I feel like Regeneration's got to be one of the biggest retcons in media history. But it's allowed Doctor Who to reinvent itself every few years, which is
Yeah, it was such a great idea, because like William Hartnell was like, even though he was like the crotchety old man, he was only in his, I say only, he was only in his 50s when he was playing the Doctor.
50s
But
isn't that, no, he does look older.
Oh yeah, like David Tennant is only a couple of years younger than William Hartnell was when he was the Doctor, which is kind of mad to see. But yeah, he wasn't a very well man. He kind of grew up on the streets, got into petty crime. He was very unwell. Apparently, there's a rumor that he once got kicked by a horse. I don't know how true that is, but he was not a very well man. So he would frequently have to take days off. He'd have to, because it was filmed like as live theater in front of studio cameras, and the version that they filmed, that was the one that went out and got broadcast. If there were any flubs or mistakes or technical glitches, they wound up in the finished episode. And Hartnell had arteriosclerosis, which means that blood flow wasn't making his way to his brain properly. He couldn't remember lines. He was stumbling and staggering quite frequently. So he was very unwell. He wanted to do like 5 seasons, but in the end, he could only manage 3. And he and the highest up at the BBC amicably decided that he was going to leave at the beginning of the 4th series. And Patrick Troughton takes over. And they don't call it Regeneration for a couple of years, but it's such a great invention that this weird alien time traveler, we don't know where he's from, we don't know who he is, but he's an alien, so maybe his body regenerates every so often. So the first Doctor basically dies of old age and then becomes a younger version. And then that's just such a great way to not only allow the show to continue, but it also means that it can have a new leading actor, new leading man or woman, and make its way forward to change and adapt with the times. Like John Pertwee is almost like a James Bond type of Doctor.
Yeah.
And John Pertwee in the early 1970s would often use Doctor Who as an excuse to do really cool things. Like he'd say to the directors and the producers, I want to ride a motorbike in this one. So then okay, we're writing in a motorbike chase. I want to ride a hovercraft. I want to do kung fu at one point. So, you know, it sounds parody, but that's actually kind of what happened in the early 70s. So yeah, a lot of the Doctor actors bring a lot of themselves into Doctor Who, especially actors like Tom Baker, who was just playing himself, but a heightened version.
Yeah. I was going to ask, do you have a favorite of the classic Doctor airs?
It's a controversial one. Controversial. I'm not going to get shot for my opinions. Like Peter Davison, the 5th Doctor, is kind of one of my favorites.
For a second, when you said controversial, I was like, are you going to say Colin Baker?
Oh, Colin Baker's a Doctor who has definitely been redeemed in recent years. He does so much like big finish audio.
Yeah, I think he's better than he gets credit for, but like there was still wonkiness.
Yeah. I think in the classic series, he's one of the best actors to play the Doctor.
Yeah, oh yeah. No, but my issues have never been with his performance. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. He's such a lovely guy as well. I've met him a couple of times. He's lovely. But yeah, Peter Davison is, because he's following on from Tom Baker, who played the Doctor for like 7 years, which is like he was the icon of like the mid to late 70s and the early 80s for Doctor Who. So Peter Davison comes along as the younger face. And he clearly has a bit of an inferiority complex, like because Tom Baker has got this deep, commanding, booming voice, and he's able to like go onto a space station and immediately convince everyone that he's the one that they need to listen to. The 5th Doctor is not like that at all. Like his first season, one of his companions winds up being killed by the Cybermen. And that kind of haunts him for the rest of his tenure. And he's got a lot of like really dark stories and like really thematically interesting ones as well. And then his final story is called The Caves of Androzani, which is considered by fans to be one of the best stories, if not the best, of the classic series, where he sacrifices his life for his brand new companion who he's only just met. And I think that it's such a terrific story, an allegory for the Vietnam War and drug cartels. Doctor Who was never political, don't worry about it. But it's a story that Peter Davison himself has said that if he had more stories like that during his tenure, he would have stayed on for longer. But it's the idea that he's no longer this booming authority figure, that he has every story for him is an uphill battle, which for me makes for more interesting TV. But of course, it's a subjective reading.
No, I think that's interesting. It makes me more wanting to dive back into Classic Who and get some more Peter Davison, because I've seen some of his stuff, but not a lot. I've definitely seen more of the John Pertwee, Tom Baker stuff, which I love. I think they had some fantastic stories during that run. I especially like, and they're also different too, because like John Pertwee was like pretty much with Unit doing like, yeah, like you said, almost like spy stuff, working with the agency, whereas Tom Baker's like almost a bit more like normal Who, where he's just out exploring the galaxy and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, yeah, because the John Pertwee era is very explicitly a homage to the Quatermass experiment. Like that's basically what they were doing for the early 70s. And then during Tom Baker's run, Douglas Adams is the script editor for a few years. So it's very Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot he
It was
involved.
during that. It was during that period as well where Doctor Who got its highest ever ratings of like 14 million people were watching it. But that's partly because ITV, the rival channel, rival broadcaster, was on strike. So literally nothing else was on TV. So that's why Doctor Who ends up getting viewed by 14, 15 million people.
I never knew that Douglas Adams was a script editor. That's crazy.
Oh yeah, one of his stories is called Shada, which is a story that was not finished, not made because of industrial action at the time. But it's like the lost epic that has been remade now about 4 times, like animated audio versions. So you can watch Shada now, but for years it was this Douglas Adams lost classic. And his trademark wit is like absolutely on display. For better or for worse, he script edited an episode with the Daleks, and the Daleks are an absolute joke in the story. At one point, the Doctor just throws his hat over his shoulder and it lands on the Dalek's eye stalk and it can't see, and it starts blowing up the room. Like, really funny, but it's a far cry from the hiding behind the sofa Nazi allegory from like 10 years prior.
Yeah, for sure. See, do we want to start looking at? Is there anything else we want to talk about Doctor Who before we go into Chudpocalypse, guys?
I did have one question, and it's basically from the industry side of it. As someone who works in the industry, and you're watching these reactionary channels, people who sit on the other side of the screen like us, who don't just talk about what they love and what they don't like. They start talking about secret things going on in the industry and all of these things behind the scenes. Is it frustrating to have to come on and deal with that as someone who absolutely knows that most of that is not actually what's happening? Is it like, how do you deal with that as a content creator?
Yeah, it is because obviously I'm kind of preaching to the choir here. Also, my cat Theo has joined, so he's hello. Like,
we love cats. This
is Morty's right here.
Oh, hi, Morty. This is my Doctor Who companion. He travels around with me in time and space, eating mice all the time. Yeah, so it is frustrating, particularly when it comes to things like viewing figures as well, because I of course make TV, so I'm not viewing figures aren't like my specialist subject or whatever. But I've been in rooms where this new big high profile high budget show that that one broadcaster is like staked its entire winter schedule around, gets overnight figures of like 1.4 million, and they're happy and they're popping the champagne. So when people say Doctor Who got viewing figures of 5 million, the show is dead, no one's watching. And it kind of recontextualizes the conversations for me. But also a lot of it is when they have this strange idea that Jodie Whittaker as the 13th Doctor is responsible for the bad writing of her era. Like, obviously it's subjective, but it's like she didn't write it. Like, she's there to do her job. Sure, she can have input on the set, but there's a ceiling to that, of course. Like, it's not like she's going to rewrite the character arcs because she's the actor there. So, but a lot of this is sort of like basic stuff where you don't need insider knowledge to debunk or refute.
You almost have to, it's like they have to be trying to not understand these things to be talking about them this way,
Oh yeah, 100%. But one rumor was like there was one rumor during the Whittaker and Chibnall era called Chaos in Cardiff, where apparently the whole production shut down because there were massive arguments on set and Jodie Whittaker was being tyrannical or whatever. But like, having worked on like the industry for like 7 or 8 years, like of course arguments do happen on set and on location. It's a work environment. Sometimes you're working with people you don't like, and there's millions of pounds and a broadcasting on the line and stuff. So yeah, emotions do run high. I'm certain that there have been arguments and potential shouting matches behind the scenes on like TV shows that I like or dislike. It is just part of the process. But to try and like make it a super exceptional thing, like, oh, this is something that was so bad it shut down production, even though that demonstrably didn't really happen. The rumor was so on the face of it ridiculous that the BBC actually responded. They actually were like, no, this rumor's not true. What you on about? So yeah, stuff like that. It's frustrating to see, because it's like, yeah, it's just part of the process. You will have disagreements and there will be arguments and such, but yeah, but you don't need the insider knowledge to really understand that.
Yeah, I mean that's an excellent point, because I mean I've done a little bit of TV experience, but it's been decades. But like, yeah, just yeah, a lot of this stuff is very easy to debunk, and it gets frustrating that so many people actually believe it.
But fewer and
it fewer, I
almost
think,
needs
to be debunked.
Fewer and fewer believe it, I believe, because
True.
you know, we are in the midst of but damn, that's long.
Yes, a chud apocalypse. I don't know if you guys saw Turf's latest video, but it is good. Go check it out. It's fantastic.
Very good. Yep. Is anybody else hearing got like some kind of talking in the background or something? Is it just me?
I hear a little something.
Okay. Yeah, not a big deal, but it was throwing me off. Yeah, what do we got?
Well, did you hear about Elon Musk making a computer AI chatbot?
Yeah, I heard a little bit about it.
Yeah. I think this is hilarious. The AI chatbot was asked about the woke mind virus. And literally, like, it's like, listen, I want to stress this is an AI chatbot. It's just AI, but like, the woke mind virus is a term that has been thrown around quite a bit in recent years, and it's a phrase that seems to have a life of its own. But what does it really mean? Well, let's break it down. First, let's talk about woke. The term originated in the African American community and was used to describe a state of being aware of social and racial injustice. It's a call to action to stay informed and fight against discrimination. Now let's add mind virus to the mix. A mind virus is a term used to describe an idea or belief that spreads rapidly and affects the way people think. It's like a mental version of the common cold. But instead of sneezing, people start spouting off opinions without fully understanding the issue. So when you put these two terms together, you get woke mind virus. It's a term that's been co-opted by some to describe a perceived threat to society, claiming that progressive activism and social justice movements are somehow pushing civilization to the brink of destruction. Let's be real here. The woke mind virus is a load of BS. It's a term that's been used to dismiss and belittle important conversations about social justice and equality. It's a way for some to avoid confronting uncomfortable truths about the world we live in and the work that needs to be done to make it a better place for everyone. So next time you hear someone talk about the woke mind virus, just remember, it's nothing more than a distraction from the real issues at hand. Let's stay focused on making the world a more just and equitable place for everyone and leave the mind viruses to the sci-fi movies. I mean, that is Elon Musk's bot on Twitter that he put on there for the blue check users.
In other words,
the woke mind virus.
In other words,
it's a fake.
I remember we talked about AI like, I don't know, months ago, and I said that I thought for sure that AI pulling information from the internet is not going to feed into the feelings of chuds. It's going to give them the answers they don't want because they just make stuff up. And that's not how AI works. So
well, they're currently trying to, like, you can go and look and see how, like, Ian Miles Chong, all these people are trying to game it to get it to think the right way. They're like, it's broken. We got to get it to think right because it's doing, wrong think. And
in
it's
other
like
words,
the blue
they
text have
want to
access to it,
indoctrinate
yeah.
the AI. They want to
They're
indoctrinate the AI.
they're grooming it. Yeah, they are grooming it. Yeah.
This is not how I thought the apocalypse would happen. I always thought it would be like Ultron, where he goes onto the internet and wants to destroy humanity. But no, the AI goes on the internet and it develops pronouns and blue hair.
Right.
It's terrific. I love it.
I feel like they just wanted to say mean stuff so they can screenshot it. Like get it to say that a trans woman is a man so they can screenshot it. Go, see, the AI said it, so it's got to be true. Even though
Have
we
you
spent
guys
months doing that.
Did you guys see where somebody asked it to roast Elon?
Oh, I didn't see this.
Oh no, I did not see this.
This is magical, absolutely magical. Yeah. So, Elon Musk, the man who put the twit in Twitter. It seems you've been quite busy trying to make X the new alphabet, haven't you? But let's not forget your greatest achievement, turning Twitter into a roller coaster ride for users and employees alike. And your fascination with the letter X is truly out of this world. You've got X.com, X in the Twitter logo, and even your son named after it. Next thing we know, you'll be changing your name to X Elon Musk. But let's be honest. Your tweets sometimes make us wonder if your brain is still in your skull or if it's off exploring the galaxy. Keep up the excellent work.
Oh my god.
The chat is sassy. The chatbot's sassy. I love it.
Oh.
Yeah, no, it
Yeah, we're
definitely is
triggering.
fighting up against it. Yeah.
Anytime
know.
the chat gets that kind of sassy, they're triggered. They're triggered.
I know they kept on asking it, is a trans woman a woman? And it kept on saying yes. No, is a trans woman a woman? Yes. No, say it with all
Say
facts.
what I want
All
you to
facts, a
say
trans
because
woman
I
is a
need
woman. Yeah.
confirmation bias. I need confirmation bias. Please say it. Say the thing.
You know, it's there's a few different ones. So there was like the gender is a social construct one where somebody named Grifty asked it, you know, is gender a social construct? And if it is, how can someone be born the wrong gender?
I
And
I
it
feel like
said,
they could be using Google. Like, why do they need the AI to answer this?
because Google's woke. Because it said, oh, you've stumbled upon the ultimate question, haven't you? Gender is indeed a social construct, meaning it's
Sassy,
a
it's so
concept
good.
created by a society to categorize individuals based on their perceived characteristics, behaviors, and roles. But just because something is a social construct doesn't mean it isn't real or doesn't have a significant impact on people's lives. Now let's talk about being born the wrong gender. Some people are assigned a gender at birth based on their physical characteristics, but as they grow up, they may realize that their assigned gender doesn't match their internal sense of self. This is known as gender dysphoria. It's like being given a pair of shoes that don't fit. They might look nice, but they're uncomfortable and make it hard to walk through life. So when someone says they're born the wrong gender, they're expressing that their assigned gender doesn't align with their internal sense of self. They may choose to transition to a different gender identity, and that feels more authentic to them. In conclusion, while gender is a social construct, the impact it has on an individual's life is very real. It's like a game of Monopoly. The rules and roles are made up, but try telling that to someone who just got sent to jail by the top hat, which I don't think is how Monopoly works, really, but close enough.
No. AI gets stuff wrong, but
It was going so well.
yeah. It's all been debunked now.
I just, you know, this obsession with like other people's gender is such a weird thing. It's really fucking weird. You know, we wouldn't need all of this like gender identity talk if people just accepted people for who they are. I mean, the entire argument and discussion about it is created by bigots. So it's just it's if you don't want to have it everywhere being pushed on you, maybe just accept people as who they are, and then you won't have to worry about it.
You know, somebody said something really poignant about that at one point.
And what I feel like Jesus has taught and what Jesus would be like. And that's not to judge people, and that's to have grace toward people and to love people. And that's where I am at.
Based.
Wow. She seems like a well thought out, empathetic YouTuber.
Yeah. If it wasn't for the Mandela effect, they'd all still be okay at this point. But the Earth's merged, and we got the wrong versions of all of them. That's the problem.
I mean, we already kind of brought up, but here's them frantically trying to get it to misgender trans women. Just like, please answer the way we want to. No.
Keep correcting it.
Yeah. It's
well, like it just goes to show they don't understand how this shit works, because like they think that Google is they'll say Google is woke or whatever, right? So like do they not understand that like this AI is actually drawing stuff from the same pool of information that Google does? And it's like I don't know.
That's why they keep saying it's woke programmers. They don't even understand how it works. They think some programmer is sitting behind the keyboard giving it answers. That's no.
Which is not how AI would work at all anyway. You know, like that's literally not AI.
Yeah. These guys are special. I like Dane. I know we discussed it yesterday. We had other stuff on Chatpocalypse.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's you know, this whole business with Mark Millar. I'm gonna have to go in just a minute to go meet the kid to get him off the bus in a minute, so I'll be gone for another few minutes. So I apologize about that, but yeah, there's Mark Millar. He's doing a grift, doing a little bit of a grifty poo, and I don't know, you know, I don't know how much anybody wants to get into that, or I've already talked about it a couple of times, but he's got, like, every day Mark Millar is becoming more and more just Comicsgate, basically. Like, it's, you know, he says, oh, I'm not part of any group or whatever, but then he's literally saying, doing, you know, Comicsgate shit and like buddying up to Comicsgaters. It's, yeah, pretty stupid. And it kind of indicates that things must not be going too well in Miller World. You know, like I think all of the shows that they adapted from his comics onto Netflix, like none of them got more than like a season.
Was there more than one?
Somebody said there was something.
I thought there was an animated and a live action. I thought there was like two different things from.
The only one I know about is Jupiter's Legacy, and I knew that bombed really fucking.
Yeah, but wasn't there like an animated prequel to that or something? I feel like there was something else.
Oh, true, Morgan. Yeah. Plus, he's fucking buddies with David Icke. I found that looking into him yesterday or the other day. You know, David Icke being the essentially he's doing JQ, but he says that it's lizard people. But it just so happens the lizard alien people that run the world happen to all mostly be Jewish. So. And right, yeah, Rob Liefeld's getting in on it now. He saw an opportunity. Man, it's.
Yeah. Yep. It's really sad. I mean, because especially with Mark, some of the other stuff that he was doing prior to all of this wasn't even like, I remember him doing like a hashtag love wins type thing with when marriage equality happened and stuff like that. Such a weird turn for him. I'm not really sure what's happened in the background.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's so like on the 6th, excuse me, on this, I gotta get some water. Sorry.
It was Super Crooks. Super Crooks was the name of the show. That's it, from Netflix. Yep.
Oh, okay. I was just gonna say, like, Mark Miller's got some great stuff. I mean, Kick-Ass is awesome. I do like the movie more than the comic book, but like, it's a damn good movie.
He's always been a great idea man. Like, he comes up with good, you know, just like ideas. Like, here's a solid idea to start with, kind of thing. But like, the execution is often not so great. You know, but like, yeah. So on the 6th, it was announced that because Miller World, he'd signed that deal in 2017 with Netflix. So like, basically, Netflix was going to make any adaptation of his comics work. Apparently, they only got to 2, and they didn't do so well. So that might be an indicator of something, because as we know, you don't go and buddy up to Comicsgate if you've done really well. You know what I mean? Like, it's always it's a cope move. It's like, I didn't get what I feel entitled to, so now I'm going to do this. So yeah, it kind of seems like it didn't go so well. But then on the 6th, it was announced that Miller World was going to be no longer putting comics out through Image Comics, which is what it's been with for over a decade. Now they're going to do Dark Horse, because apparently Netflix already has a good relationship with Dark Horse. They produce a lot of Dark Horse comic book adaptations. And I don't know if that has something to do with it. I was trying to figure out what the difference might be. Image has a couple of % more in the market share of comic books than Dark Horse does. So it's like 3-4% Image, and then like 1-something% with Dark Horse. So that might be it. I don't know. I guess he's just seeing his value drop and decides that he's not getting what he's worth or something. So.
I mean, he's getting in on the tail end of it.
Yeah.
Well, wasn't he also, because this is interesting looking from the outside, I'm not super as in-depth into comics, but he also did the Kingsman series, didn't he? Which was adapted into
he does lots
films.
of collaborations with Matthew Vaughn. I'm not sure Matthew Vaughn would really, like, he's said some stuff that would be perceived as woke throughout his career. So I don't know if he'd be quite.
So is Miller, but like, yeah, it seems like he's saying fuck that now.
Yeah, so I'm assuming that the Kingsman film from a couple of years ago didn't do as well as wanted. So yeah, it's sort of like the downhill trajectory from the past couple of years, really, at least in regards to the licensing and the adaptations.
Yeah, I would guess so. I will say the Kingsman film from God, I guess it was a couple years ago. I never got around to seeing the third one, which was the prequel. That was also kind of released during the pandemic, so
well,
that's a huge caveat on that one.
Grant Morrison is a treasure and a special human being. We love Grant Morrison. So the fact that they said this about Mark Millar at one point, I wish him well, but there's not good feeling between myself and Mark for many reasons, most of which are he destroyed my faith in human fucking nature. And you know, he lives in Glasgow. Is there a chance of bumping into him? There's a very good chance of running into him, and I hope I'm going 100 miles an hour when it happens.
Oh my God.
So I don't know what happened there, but
yeah. Well, I mean, I was reading up on it too when I did my stream, and apparently, like, they were really good friends for a while and worked together for a while. But like,
I'll be back
here's
in a
what
few
I
minutes.
know. Like I know Mark Millar, however you pronounce it. He's done some good stuff that I enjoy. He's also done some stuff I'm not thrilled with. I wasn't thrilled with the Ultimates run. But Grant Morrison, mostly I like everything by him that I've read. But yeah, and I think Julia brought up a great point on my stream the other day. Essentially, Mark Millar does like the edgy stuff, but frequently it doesn't feel like he knows why he's doing edgy stuff. He's just doing it. Whereas you take somebody like Garth Ennis, and there's almost always a point to doing the edgy stuff. Like it plays into the themes and the story. It's, you know, a bit more thought out. And even if the point is to be like shock value, that you know, Garth Ennis understands the point to shock value, whereas Mark Millar, I don't know, he doesn't seem to understand that. But yeah.
Yeah, he struck me as the type of guy who's, like I mentioned earlier, is just really good at the ideas. Like, wasn't he one of the guys who wrote Civil War in like the 2000s, which of course,
2005,
yeah, and Old Man Logan, I think that was him as well. So yeah, I think, I don't know if he was like solely responsible for Old Man Logan, but I think he was like one of the guys involved in that particular run. So yeah, someone who's I think had a really good run in the 2000s and is now sort of seeing that peter out, really. So what do you hitch the ride onto next, really? And I think this is kind of it.
Yeah, it really kind of seems like it. Yeah, let's see, Old Man
like
Logan.
When it comes to this kind of stuff, especially like I said, we're at the tail end of this, we're seeing the downtrend on a lot of this stuff. It feels extremely desperate, especially considering like all of these issues they seem to have with when it comes to culture. If you look at American politics, a lot of the politicians that are running on platforms that deal with a lot of this stuff, they're not winning their races. They're not getting the numbers they were getting before. And it's just weird to hitch onto that at this point. Like when all of that is on a downswing, it reeks of desperation.
Yeah, no, like, they're losing in like off terms. Oh, go ahead.
Well, it just seems also a bit it's like it's coincided with a general like downward trend for the comics industry in terms of you can't really sell particular comics runs based on a creative's name anymore, like you could like maybe 10 or 15 years ago, whereas like now it seems like the comic books from both like Marvel and DC and other publishers and such are mainly there to act as like licensing farms now, or to try out different ideas for different characters, which can then be made into TV shows or then be made into films. So yeah, I guess it seems like comics, I know that comics haven't really been a major moneymaker outside of like the boom and busts in the like throughout the past century, but every so often it's a bit sad to see in terms of just the general state of the comics industry, and then to hitch your ride onto something that is going to maybe crash and burn in the next few years. But where else are they going to do it if this is the approach that they're going to take? Because it's the culture that they want to try and shift people in terms of like entertainment and media and comics and the stuff that people are watching and reading, because they can't do it anywhere else. All their other ideas have completely petered out. Like you mentioned, the polling as well. So yeah, it's sad to see, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dane has returned.
I don't know what you guys were mentioned, but like, there's some. The thing is, you know, okay, so he has his dumb opinions on comics, Mark Millar and Rob Liefeld and stuff, but like, it would in a vacuum, it would be like, whatever, who cares? You know, there's your old man yelling at cloud. But like, what happens in practice is people like this latch onto it, and you know, it's not good, because then he starts saying shit like this. You know, that most women don't know how to write comics for its primarily male audience, and there's like 3 or 4 incorrect or fallacious statements in that sentence alone. You know.
Wow. I don't recognize this guy. Who is this guy?
Well, I mean, so he used to draw some comics, I think. So like, that's not what he does now. Now he's kind of like a streamer. He takes money for saying it woke bad, SJWs suck and stuff like that. He just repeats that, and they give him
Maybe
money.
I'll talk to him on stream sometime. I don't know.
It's like a seal, you know, like you get it to clap, or a dolphin or something.
I think it's really funny, the statement here. Most women don't know how to write comics for its primarily male audience, right? Which is a power statement. It is a false statement from a place of misogyny. Then his next line is, they believe male power fantasies are sexist and stupid. You just did a male power fantasy statement that is sexist and stupid prior to writing that sentence.
Well, yeah. I don't know if you're familiar with this guy at all, Mr. TARDIS.
I think I've seen this tweet being bandied around the past couple of days, but yeah, I'm not sure who this is. But when I guess look at this, because I am fresh meat, I could be radicalized into this new Comicsgate world because I'm from the outside and I don't know what's going on. But I look at this and it's like, okay, where are the specifics? You know, who are the bad women who don't know how to write comics? Who has said that male power fantasies are sexist and stupid? Where's the specifics here? If you want to try and lure me into your side, Mr. Ethan, if that is your real name, I'm going to need a little bit more than just this vague gesturing.
Well, so yeah, it is. You're right, because we can look at. I've got a bunch of clips here, and it's a very common thing where these people, a lot of them, they'll just say something as like this grand, broad statement. Like, here's one. I think this is the one I'm thinking it is.
Of a lot of strange women. I hate to put it this way. Sorry, ladies. A lot of strange women kind of suddenly showed up in the comic book business and basically came at us with this criticism that this was clearly a boys' club. It was unsafe for women, and everything that you guys are putting out is sexist and it's racist and it's homophobic. And well, we're going to fix that. If you hire us, and you should hire us, we're going to fix that, because if you don't hire us, you're sexist. So suddenly all of these women show up and they start basically making changes to this sort of male-dominated hobby.
So there's just that same guy, by the way. That's just what he does. That's what he does instead of actually drawing comics or anything.
But again, he said that women come into the space thinking it's not safe for women because we're sexist, while he's being sexist and mean to women.
Yeah, but it's like, if I was on that table when he was like saying that, I'd be like, okay, who said that? When did they say that? Like I said, specifics. But like that tweet that he showed earlier, like, because I don't know what's going on here, and he just name drops somebody called Heidi. And it just reads funny out of context. Like, what is this, some sort of like jilted teenage love from like 40, 50 years ago? Heidi is the person who chose Tyrone over you. What's going on? Who is Heidi?
That actually
who is
brings me to
Heidi?
the other part of this that I wanted to show, and this is really fucked up, because what they've done is, and Mark Millar has fucking promoted this, is they have so they believe there's this whisper network, right? Of women, mostly women, but also men who work in the industry, and that they're constantly feeding information to each other to you know, basically shut these guys out, to shut out certain, you know, toxic sexist men or whatever. And it's like, well, I mean, you know, these people do communicate, that's pretty clear, but it's like they're talking like it's something insidious, when it's just people talking about the industry and their peers and how to, like, who to avoid and whatnot. Like, that's nothing new. People do that in every industry.
It happens
But
in
they
TV.
call it.
I can tell you that happens in TV as well. You know, don't work with this sound person because if he puts a microphone on you, he might try and cop a feel. You know, there are whisper networks in a closed industry like that.
If people had talked about let's say Russell Brand more often in that way for years, then maybe he wouldn't have had as many victims as he ended up having. You know what I mean? So like, but this is what they ended up putting out. There's this person called Penny Parker that we're pretty sure is not a real woman. That it's
I don't think so. I think
probably
it's a fake account.
So one of these guys, they recognize that that being a guy putting this out is just they're going to get dismissed as sexist, misogynist, because they are. So they made up this person, it seems like, called Penny Parker, and she is writing a book about the Whisper Network. And then you get the guy like, Yellow Flash 2 saying, they're just putting this list out here. It's a list of people's names. And what this is functionally to Comicsgate is kind of a target list for who to harass. And many of the women on here, it's already happened. So when he mentioned Heidi, that's who he was talking about. But like, yeah, it's fucking disgusting. It's, definitely not pro free speech. And it's not, I don't know, man. It's crazy. They're off the tracks at this point.
Russell Brand, that's another like deep dive rabbit hole situation with him. They're saying that you've done a video on him, Mr. TARDIS. I want to check that out. I didn't see that one. So
yes, I don't have any insider information. It was more just sort of like what sort of culture would what culture would allow this to happen.
He's like, I know I said I was in the industry, but I didn't hear anything. I swear.
So I've actually worked on a show with Russell Brand like years ago, but like I didn't see or hear anything then. But like it was like a fleeting encounter, so it wasn't like I had an intense like working relationship with him or whatever. But yeah, it is one of those things where it's kind of like. With Russell Brand, I know this is a massive tangent, but with Russell Brand, it wasn't even like an open secret. It was like on the airwaves. It was on like the BBC radio and stuff. And like there must have been people who knew as well because he was using BBC fees and BBC taxis to like get teenage girls and pick them up from school and take them to his house. And so, people must have known. Like this, if you're an audience member or maybe just below the line crew member in the industry, you probably didn't know, but people who could have stopped this very likely did know.
That's great.
That's wild. But
so I wanted to just catch us up to what Mark has said today, because it definitely seems to be getting more explicit and more intense against certain things. I think in a week's time he's just going to be saying that
he's
diversity is bad and shit like
and like I said, like Mark Miller's never been one of my favorite writers, but like he was decent in my opinion.
So we know, of course, that what's really going on here, cancel pigs hunt creators under the guise of virtue, because many of them are sociopaths who take pleasure in hurting others, and they really want their jobs. Seeing the current situation at the Big Two for how that worked out.
Again, who are we talking about?
What?
Like, this is such a vague, nebulous statement. It doesn't.
Yeah, I've also never heard of the term cancel pigs until this very live stream. Is this like a recent thing?
Oh, he's been saying it for a few days, and it's caught on. They've started saying it. Yeah,
they seem to think that people don't like it.
To add.
Yeah, basically, and I'm like, I don't even care. Like these names that you make up, I just don't care. It's just one of those things.
Well, I mean, it like I covered this on my live stream as well. Not that long ago, we had that viral clip from Glenn O'Leary, comic book owner, ranting about how he doesn't like how a lot of characters are being written. Again, we don't have cite examples, but whatever. I will say, I feel like the guy, it feels like he's a genuine guy who just doesn't really know what he's talking about. But the rant went viral.
I would argue a little bit. I would argue that he's super. I mean, look, he's not nearly, at least no evidence to think that he's like as gross as these guys are being. But so to complain about the people, and everybody knows who he's alluding to. It seems like even if that's not who he meant, that's who they projected onto it. The people that these writers that they write themselves into the characters, they don't care about the history of the characters. They don't love these characters the way that other people do, so on and so forth. But to blame that stuff on your comic store not having great sales, but then to be closed one of the 2 days that one of the big two release comic books is pretty fucking disingenuous to me. It's because DC comes out on Tuesdays. And I called him. I called his store the other day on Monday, and I said, "Hey, it was him." He answered. I was like, "Hey, man, I just moved to the area, and I'm looking forward to getting my DC comics this week. What time do you open tomorrow?" And he was like, and he kind of took me for a loop at first because he was like, "Oh, I open at 11." I'm like, "Oh, because I'm looking at Google and it says you're closed on Tuesdays. Is that incorrect?" And he said, "No. For the holidays, I'm open on Tuesdays, but after that, that's my day off." And I'm just like, why would you make your day off one of the days that one of the big two publishers puts out comics? Because a lot of people that buy comics want to buy them the day they come out. It just seems kind of like shooting yourself
like a
in the
movie
foot.
theater
And
not opening on Fridays.
Well,
yes.
yeah. But I've always said, like I said this, I was streaming the other day, and I said, if these comics are not selling, why are you featuring them? Why are you not stocking stuff that people actually want? If you claim that Marvel and DC aren't selling, then stop putting them up front and center. Buy a bunch of manga, buy a bunch of independent comics from these Comicsgate guys or whatever. Put those in the front of your store and try and sell those. If the problem is what Marvel and DC is making, then prove us wrong and sell these other comics. Why are you stocking your shelves with something that isn't selling?
Well, I will say part of their problem might be they would only hold like 5 comic books then.
Right. So you can't blame it on Marvel and DC if Marvel and DC is the only thing that you've always been selling. Like, that doesn't make any sense.
No, true. But
yeah, so for anybody, sorry, real quick, anybody wondering what the these are about, I didn't make it super clear, I guess. Like, these are just random local shops near me, and like showing you what their hours look like versus what his looks like, as just to kind of say, like, this is these are, it's pretty fucking decent hours on all of them, really, and none of them are closed on Tuesday or Wednesday. So there you go.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying, Screwface, is like, if that's the only thing that you have in your shop, if that's the only thing you're selling and you're saying it's not working, then you need to try something else.
Well, but also, I've been hearing for years.
All of the it's like all of the comic book shops in Manchester, the city where I live. They don't just sell comic books. They sell memorabilia. They sell manga. They sell general magazines and books and geek. I think like I said, I'm viewing this a lot from the outside, but it's a case of just that. It seems like in the UK, at least, there's hardly any sort of dedicated comic book shops. It's just general geek memorabilia, pop culture shops that also happen to have a big wall of comic books, or maybe a section of the shop or a whole floor dedicated to comic books. But that's not the main income of that particular store.
Sorry, Dane. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I've been hearing for years that manga is just destroying comics. It's outselling comics, and it's like, it is. I mean, I guess if you're gonna arbitrarily compare those two and put them against each other, because really it seems like, if anything, Western comics, they benefit from the boost in sales that manga's seen. So whatever. But like, they like to compare those two, and it's like, okay, well then why is he on videos talking about how these comics suck? That, it's like, can you imagine doing a video where you're running some shoe store or something, and you're just like, all the shoes I sell are fucking terrible. You know what I mean? Like, and then why doesn't he talk about like the manga? Like, oh, the manga's doing great. You guys should check this out if you haven't before. It's really good. Like, anything.
You can't you can't argue that one thing is better than the other, but then not promote the thing that you say is better. Like, why are you not promoting that thing?
Yeah, you need to at least point to an alternative, or at least say, this run from Marvel is bad, but this indie comic is really good. And if you go into my store, it's like front and center on its own display or something. Like,
exactly.
You need to be the change that you want to see. And that sounds a bit like hipstery, but if you are actually in a position where you can sell these products or sell these comics or influence the market, even in a micro way, then I think it's just good business sense to do it.
I think that they just don't want to take the more difficult route. It's easier to complain than it is to solve the problem. And I think that's what it is. It's like, I would rather complain that my shop is not making money because of somebody else's mistakes than to try and fix it by doing something proactive. And I do believe that's a bigger problem, because the comic shops in my area, at least the two major ones near me, do these game nights where they do they
Mhm.
make a lot of their money off of booking spaces for like D&D and tabletop games. So like they have a whole section set up for people to want to come in and do that. They pay like, you know, $10 a pop. They get like a unlimited sodas, things like that. But they come in and they buy things in the shop while they're there, and it makes it useful for the shop owners to have that additional revenue incoming, and it's a way to diversify your business. So people are finding creative ways to sort of continue to run their comic book shops. When you have somebody complaining, I just look at it like they're just not trying new stuff.
Yeah, there's a comic shop in Manchester where in the like during the day it is a geek pop culture comic book shop, but then in the evenings they like every night they have like themed D&D or Magic the Gathering or Yu-Gi-Oh. Yeah, it's I've been meaning to try and check out the like Magic the Gathering stuff myself, because they've recently released some like Doctor Who decks, you know, because that's the only way to get me interested in a different hobby. But it is something that I've become aware of that I am wanting to try and get into. But yeah, the fact that they are able to become these really cool creative havens, you know, it builds a sense of community, but in a positive way. It means that you're not going to burn these people out after a couple of years by outraging them.
But yeah, well, part of the reason to bring it back to where it was, part of the reason I bring him up is because Mark Miller did a Twitter post about how this guy got harassment for that clip where he talked about that. Oh my God, he got harassed so bad. And then in my stream, I'm actually going to that guy's Twitter. I'm going to his Facebook, wherever he's active, and there is no harassment to be seen.
No.
And all I see is a couple of comments under that one post by, I suspect it was a sock account that posted that clip that everybody shared, where like a couple make fun of him, but that's about it. But Mark Millar is like, I'm going to invite him onto my stream so we can talk about the terrible harassment he's gotten. So he goes on stream, and all he's talked about is like, oh my God, things are going great. You know, that stream went viral. Business is booming. Everybody's calling me. This is going great. I'm loving this. It's great. Mark has to maneuver him to talk about like a couple of negative comments he got on Twitter.
He's like, no, just downplay
To
that.
theme it
Downplay
like
that.
Yeah.
Victim
Yeah.
narrative. Victim narrative.
It's wild. Yeah.
And this. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say it's just wild how, like, you know, it seems like this guy's like while I disagree with what he's saying, you know, things okay, he's doing all right, cool, you know.
And
I
any
support
any
local
kind of
business,
like
great.
harassment or fucking
Yeah.
you know, insults and shit that shouldn't be happening. I told my audience last night, I was like, if you've done any of it, unsubscribe to me and don't watch my shit again. I don't want you to, you know. But like this is, I started looking into Mark a little bit more. You know, and this is where he blocked me, because I had found where he's, you know, hosted an event for David Icke, who, you know, let's see, famous for claiming the world is run by shape-shifting alien reptiles, says the House of Rothschild controls the political system of the U.S. There's Zionist cabal spanning Israel, the United States, Europe, and beyond. One of his public lectures, which are presented with a large projector screen on stage, includes an image of reptiles in suits wearing Stars of David and Israeli flags while running the United Nations. You know, it seems kind of gross and anti-Semitic, just a little bit. And he posted about like talking to his kid about whether God and Santa are real. And I just said, I'm going to do this. This is probably where he's going to block me. And it was, I said, so will you tell them about who really controls the world? And I linked to this article, and he blocked me.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, good work. Yeah.
so there's the infamous from his Ultimates run where Captain America said, does this A on my head stand for France? Just the coolest line. The coolest.
Well, like I know Ultimates has gotten some praise. I never liked his Ultimates run. I thought it was blah.
I read it not long ago. I'll be honest, I kind of enjoyed it. I mean, there's definitely some shit like making the Hulk a rapist, basically. Like he's constantly, it's really fucking cringe, but that was him. Probably still is. Everything is shock value for the sake of shock value.
So I unfortunately have to jump out of here. I have to go DJ an event, play music for people. But wanted to try and
DJ,
speak as long as it's
you're a DJ.
Yes, actually a DJ.
We should call you DJ.
We should probably. But of course, always a pleasure being here. Nice meeting you, Mr. TARDIS. Hope to have you back again at some point.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, and I will see everyone later. Have a good night, everybody. Bye.
Take care. Thank you. Right, now that the square's gone, we can really talk.
Yeah.
No, I'm still here. I'm still here.
Oh shit.
Awkward. Like, it's it's moving fast. That's the thing is I've done like
Yeah.
2 sudden impromptu streams just because I didn't expect Mark Millar to be devolving so quickly before our eyes. But it's kind of like he's getting positive reinforcement or encouragement from certain sectors on the internet, and that's just telling him, oh, I can go a little bit more, a little bit harder. You know what I mean? And yeah, we can talk about the chuddies once we get it, through it, whatever else. But I do want to talk about the chuddies.
I think the chuddies will be fun. Let's see. What else do you have on the plate, Dane?
Oh, this is all on me. Let's see.
Well, I like.
It's fine.
Right
Oh
now.
well, so he's the funny thing is he's calling people cancel pigs, and yet he's fucking blocking left and right. He's talking about free speech, and he's blocking people left and right. Of course, we understand that free speech doesn't really have much of anything to do with Twitter and whether or not somebody blocks you, but just the people that he's appealing to don't seem to understand that. And yeah, I don't know. There's I made a clip. I have a clip from a while back that I ended up kind of re-editing a little bit and uploading because it's relevant. But yeah, it's this one. The people who are constantly whinging about the state of the industry and comics are dying or whatever, you have to ask them yourselves, why do they dedicate so much fucking time and energy to convincing everyone that comics suck then? Do they want them to do better? Of course they don't. They're not talking about how well or poorly these things are doing, and generally they're not being accurate or truthful, but they don't talk about that because they're trying to save the industry. Just think about it in that simple terms. It's nonsensical. If I want something to do well, and I'm concerned about the industry, and I'm concerned about the comic shops and the creators, right? And that's what I'm concerned about. Even if I don't like the stuff, I'm gonna still promote that industry and those creators and those shops because that's what I care about, right? And that was a hypothetical because I actually do care about all of those, but I also think generally there's good comics and bad comics, just like there's always been. There's so many more comics and such a broad range of creators that are working on them now. I think it's a great time to be a comics fan. It really is. If you care about the industry, if you care about comic shops, go shop at them. Dedicating your time and your days to just telling everybody how shit it is or whatever, you're not concerned about those things. You're concerned about your narrative. You're concerned about pushing your agenda. You're an activist.
You make an excellent point there.
Mm-hmm.
When they say pro speech, they really mean anti-censorship.
But they don't even mean that, right? Because they're also pro censorship, clearly.
Yeah.
When it's
true.
Yeah, they believe in nothing.
That is true.
Anyway, yeah, that's all I really have about it, I guess. I have those clips that I've been showing of this from a few years ago. This guy talking about why comic book shops close. That I think it's pretty relevant, but that's about it.
Yeah. Well, let's see. Well, I mean, did we have anything else on the agenda then? I think.
Oh, we have an agenda.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, this is what happens when. God, my brain's mushy. I apologize to everybody watching. My brain's I didn't realize I was this tired.
It's kind of a scuffed stream. We apologize, Mr. TARDIS. I was late getting up this morning,
This
so
is the
Oh no,
best stream
that's
ever.
oh no, it's absolutely fine. No, I feel like I've learned a lot about comics in the past half hour.
Mhm. Oh God, yes. Oh my God, how could we forget? Oh my God.
that's why we pay you the big bucks, Lucifer.
Fuck,
That's why
yes.
you make that paycheck you do.
Holy shit, there is so much to go over.
Bounding into comics is done, guys. It's fucking
Yeah.
done. Like it is
Oh.
over. I mean,
well,
of course, it's sorry.
Real quick, Mr. Taurus, what do you know about Bounty into comics?
It's something that from what I can tell, isn't it like a Comicsgate adjacent, almost like fake news pop culture website? One of the funniest things that I've seen from it is like Nerdrotic citing Bounding into Comics as, I can't remember what it was a while ago.
I have it right here actually, because this is the first time I ever heard of you was this.
Yeah, so it was Doctor Who related. I can't remember what it was. I'm sure you'll be able to remind me. And it was like, oh, who wrote this article? It was Gary from Nerdrotic. He was citing his own fake news. It was very funny.
I don't.
It was
remember
very
that.
funny.
Oh, that's great.
Where is it?
If you've got the clip or the tweet or wherever it was, or just take my word from a very trustworthy guy. You know.
Yeah,
very
I believe you.
Yeah.
Um,
no, but let's 2 seconds. I'll see if I can find it.
I had remember Bob had made that kind of info meme about it where they had like the
Oh yeah,
human
well I do
centipede.
know like yeah, there's like Nerdrotic says something, Bound in Comics says an article about Nerdrotic saying something, and then Bound in Comics says an article about Gary's video about like him. It's like, my God, this misinformation just getting regurgitated.
It was very
like a
funny.
Human centipede. It's insane. Yes, but yeah, no, they're essentially the fake news outlet. Like 99% of the time, if somebody's sourcing Bound in Comics, they're full of shit.
There we go. Found it. Or at least I found my tweet about it.
Ooh.
I put it in the private chat.
Bring it up, Bob.
So yeah, so an article from John F. Trent. The BBC might axe Doctor Who. This is in January 2021. The rumor comes from YouTuber Gary Buchler of Nerdrotic, and he revealed it on his live stream on January 27th. But it's, but yeah, it is like a human centipede thing. It was Gary reporting on his own rumor that he made up.
Cool. That's very honest,
Jesus.
cool guy stuff right there.
Yeah. Oh my God.
And remember, this was in like January 2021, and Doctor Who is it's filmed 2 seasons, like at time of this live stream. That they're like 2 seasons ahead in terms of film production.
Wow.
So it did not get cancelled. It is in fact still carrying on.
No, it didn't.
No, I know.
John
This is poorly aged. I'm sorry.
But yeah, I know.
It is. Yeah, it is a human centipede thing. But that was my main exposure to Bounding into Comics. Every so often, when there's like a reactionary talking about Doctor Who or entertainment or whatever, they'll cite like Bounding into Comics, and they'll just read the article. It's essentially content theft. But yeah.
Yeah. But that looks about accurate.
There we go. Perfect.
Yeah, it's pretty egregious and like so this is the main reason that I think well, there's several reasons to have a problem with them, but like this is why we covered them not long ago, is just the overt Christian fascism angle of it's just fucking disgusting. You've got you can read an article and like it'll seem like mostly normal, like it'll be like a report on the news of whatever the thing is, and then at the end of it it'll be like Archbishop Burbage or whatever, and then he's like talking about why women can't be men can't be women and all this shit, and it's like, what the fuck is going on here? Yeah,
no, that is
totally
like
not Satan, by the way. He's not Satan.
Well, I guess it's not a secret if you watch our streams, but it's the secret truth that if you don't watch our streams, you may not know. If you go to the bottom half of Bound in Comics articles, it goes into like pure Christian dogma, and it's usually a quote from Archbishop Burbage, almost always saying something incredibly cringe. They're using it as a source to debunk something. It's like, what is this?
And it'd be one thing, like, look, they have a right to publish whatever they want. I don't believe that they should not be able to do that, but when you describe yourself as this way, and there's no mention of any of that perspective, right? It's just like, we're just a normal ass nerd content. You know what I mean? Like, that's what really gets me. No, man, I think you should have to disclose that stuff. And then we had actually put out a challenge for them to do just that. We were like, look, we'll leave you alone. Just kind of like say, you should have a little tagline up on your header or something that's like, all the latest, nerd news, reviews, and rumors from a Christian authoritarian perspective. I think that would be fair. Anyway,
but if you paid attention to, I mean, even on the Mr. TARDIS tweet, you can see his name, John F. Trent. He's a dude who's been active in Bounding Comics. He wrote multiple articles a day
He's the editor in
until
chief.
about November 17th, where he has vanished from that website. And you'll notice kind of a scrubbing of the articles. Like a lot of the headlines are getting a bit more purified. If you want to pick through, let's see if I can find some examples real fast.
I have I did have those examples of the changed headlines, but yeah, so like normally their headlines, they'll say stuff like let's see.
Pretty extreme. Pretty.
Right. Yeah, so there's wait, no. Oh, here's my Bishop Michael Burbage, Jesus Christ. Okay, so Sony Pictures promotes child mutilation in latest trailer for Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse with a Protect the Trans Kid flag. You know, or
yeah, totally normal headline.
Normal,
that sounds like a very
sure.
moderate, objective
Sure.
stance on the issue, doesn't it?
Or like this one. Why the Marvel Cinematic Universe's Phase 5 Disney Plus series Ironheart will be Disney MCU's first attempt at grooming your children.
Yes, I saw this at the time. It's all coming back to me now. I thought I repressed this shit.
It's because then they're saying this because there's like there was a drag performer that's been cast in the show. You know,
Actor or actress? I don't know. I haven't seen it.
Don't show them Mrs. Doubtfire.
Right.
Oh God.
And
Famous
then
X-ray
or-
Mrs. Doubtfire.
Or
here's the
faithful
tastemaker
Shakespeare adaptations.
Right. The taste, or even USO shows from World War II of fucking World War II soldiers, fucking, you know, generally seen as like the most masculine men to ever exist kind of thing, in drag performing at fucking, you know, USO shows. But let's not talk about
Bugs
that.
Bunny. That's a
Let-
man's man.
Let's also not talk about the time Rod Reagan went drag in a movie. We don't want to cover that.
Yeah. So this is about I don't know, this is some show or something, and it just goes into Bishop Michael Burbage of the Catholic Diocese of Arlington notes gender affirming medical or surgical interventions cause significant, even, you know, just fucking misinformation and you know, widely debunked and disproven anti-science, anti-medical science bullshit. And they're just like pushing it out there like shamelessly. Well, apparently they've got some shame now, or they more accurately, they got some money.
Yeah.
It seems like they were purchased by some, you know, advertising corporation or something like that, and they're now scrubbing their article, or at least the headlines. I haven't looked too deeply yet.
It seems like they're going to be doing kind of the same stuff, but won't be as extreme. Like they've already got their brand. They're the extreme right wing fucking comic news, Christian fascist news. But like they're going to be cleaning up a little bit.
But the thing is, I think that
to see how that affects the metrics, because it is the scandalous headlines that get them the traction, even if it's
Right.
from
Exactly. Nobody
like people
cares
who oppose them,
about
who end
that.
up sharing the headlines.
Well, let's look at a couple of the newer ones and see like we looked at some of their videos me and Bob did the other day, and it's the newer videos are very tame, you know, like they say in the, you know, like, oh, we're still the same thing, you know, but then they're just like very, very, you know, fucking comparatively, especially dry, tame content. And it's like it's gonna I mean, not effectively kill them, but it's gonna make them completely irrelevant compared to, you know, I don't know, there's still Cosmic Book News. I haven't looked at them in a while, but they were doing it more hardcore than that last time I checked. But Bounding into Comics had become kind of the go-to for like all these YouTubers that we talk about. They would often like present their video on or their article on screen as a way to kind of like, look, there's an article about what I'm saying too, so it's clearly, you know, legitimate, right? I don't know. It's so here's see how this one goes. I haven't looked at this before, so we'll learn about it together. This is about Mark Millar. Takes the stand against cancel pigs, calls on creators and fans to never ever appease or encourage their cruelties. Okay. I mean, it's definitely not a neutral headline, but it is more neutral than usual. That might be framed. So, Okay, so they say the ever-growing wave of cancel culture that currently overwhelms the world of comic books, which isn't a real thing. It doesn't exist. Like who's been canceled? The people that you might be able to argue have been canceled. Am I frozen? Yeah. People that might be able to argue they've been canceled are people who will then go on to say that, oh, I'm making millions of dollars doing cyber fraud for my independent comics now. It's like, so canceling is a good thing, it seems like. No, it doesn't make any sense. Cancel happy elements of the industry first began on December 6th, following his posting of Comic Palace store owner Glenn Valyria and his personal. Yeah, I mean,
what?
it's still doing the same agenda, but it's definitely just like reining it in a little bit. Jesus Christ, like it had gotten really, really overt in recent months. Like, yeah.
Yeah, this is just shit I'm disagreeing with, but like I'm also getting bored reading it too.
I mean, look, I'm very happy that it seems like they're not going to have such disgusting fucking transphobic, misinformation in every other article. That's a good thing. Oh, look, let's talk about what Ethan Van Sciver said.
Yeah,
and then
yes. Oh yeah, I forgot they had an exchange.
This has been making, like, Ethan has been just like over the moon since this happened. He got a cheers, bud. And look, I doubt that they probably haven't been communicating privately or anything. This is probably the extent of it, in my opinion. And still, Ethan is like, oh, yay. I got validated by, someone who made a lot of money. I don't know.
That tweet's getting framed now and going up on Ethan's wall.
It might be, yeah.
This is a good example because they might previously talking about Joe Glass, who is a queer comic book creator, very good from what I've read. They might have said something more disgusting about him, but they definitely make sure to say that he is Queer Comics, the Pride writer Joe Glass, because they know that has the same effect. They would doubt without being so overt, right? Like normally they might have said something really fucked up right here. Like anti-God, sodomite. That's what they would have called him, a sodomite. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't think about that. Yeah, they definitely would have gone that way on him.
But I think what you'll find with the headline changes, especially in that particular article, is going to be a massive emphasis on quotations rather than inflammatory headlines themselves. 2/3 of that headline for the Matt Millar story is just is quotations. So they're gonna, I think it's going to be a case of finding the most inflammatory, out of context things that they can put in a headline, which means that it's technically correct, rather than saying that Disney's Ironheart is grooming or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I'm kind of surprised right now.
Yeah, I'm just looking at some of the more recent headlines. Sorry, you go on. Sorry.
No, yep. Go ahead. I'm still in.
I've just seen a headline. A Doctor Who one. Woo! Doctor Who casting director responds to criticism of race swap to Isaac Newton. Quote: "It's sad that we're in a time where people villainize minorities." I've got a feeling that the article itself is not going to be accurately reflecting what the casting director actually thinks about the decision. But the whole point is now you've got the quote in the head, you've got the technically accurate quote in the headline, and that'll be the approach for bounding into comics moving forward, I think.
Probably right. I think that's pretty astute.
Oh my God.
They're definitely doing work to establish narrative. I'm still on the same article. It is going deep into this stuff. I will say that I guess points to them for they're quoting lots of people on the left as well about this stuff. Like, so they're not really pushing back on it. So it's kind of taken almost as close to an objective view of this by including multiple perspectives as you could get. I'm surprised it's bounding into comics, to be honest. because they do make sure to do all of the chud angles first, but then they go into what there's what Joe Glass said, there's what Daniel Calban said, there's what Renfamous has said, and they're not like going out of their way to insult these people or anything. But of course, people that read this and keep up on this stuff, they know that they know who these people are generally and what to think about them. But I'm just surprised there's this included at all. So
yeah, I'm surprised it'd be included and not like just immediately slammed on. No, I'm looking through it as well. It's kind of strange. Like it obviously is going at it from a shitty angle, but like it's more objective. It's weird. It's weird. But I mean, this is why this is part of the Chudpocalypse, guys. Like Bounding into Comics, still a shitty website, but like it's less shitty because
it just goes to show that like these are people that presumably John F. Trent has been doing this and saying all this mask off, hate shit because he's fervent believer in his faith, which is it's a weird version of that faith anyway, but it apparently wasn't strong enough for him to resist the paycheck when it came a calling, and he's just like, because it really does seem like what happened was, we'll buy Bounding into Comics. You got a lot of reach. We want that reach, but we don't want all this extra shit. So can you get rid of that? It really does seem that's what happened.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they know
it's
their
hard
audience.
to sell
They know
Big
they
Macs when you're next to Christian fascist propaganda. Advertisers might not approve of the association.
So basically, they're reeling in from overt Christian fascism to just like culture war kind of stuff. And I guess that's a win, honestly, in a weird way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if they can't directly sell a lot of the stuff that they used to push, that's Chudpocalypse. That's what's happening.
Indeed. Sorry about your luck, guys. I meant to have a video thing. I'll do it before the next show that I was going to do. We watched the video announcing. We should watch that. We should watch the announcement video, right? We watched, Bob.
Let's. Yeah. Do you have that? Let's. It is so wild that this is a Bounding in Comics video. It's like, oh my god, you almost have to experience it. It's like, what the fuck am I watching?
This is what they put out to kind of just announce that there was going to be changes happening, I suppose. And
this is literally the video like after John F. Trent's last video, and then this video, and then it's somebody else after this.
Let me make sure that I've got audio turned on here.
It's a video to experience.
So it's 3 weeks old, and honestly, I had somebody that I don't want to throw anybody under the bus or anything, but somebody who I feel like would also know this before me messaged me last night asking, "Have you heard about this?" And I was like, "Yeah," and I told them what was going on. And so they kind of have seemed to try to downplay the fact that this is happening, especially when you watch this announcement thing.
Change is okay. In fact, it happens every day, all around us, and within our own minds, within our own hearts, within our souls. Change happens in an instant, and sometimes change takes forever. The changes that are taking place here at Bounding into Comics aren't getting away from its original mission of reporting the truth on mainstream industries that have turned their back on you and us. We're still going to be covering everything you've come to love Bounding for, and more.
Hey, 01, guys. I can't. Tokyo Happy Hour, guys. Yay. What? Oh, Bounding Battle Max, guys. I'm excited.
There's a lot
Thank
to
God
talk
it's
about, so we hope that
There
you add
is.
your voice to the conversation too. Make sure to get involved with the chat, the comments section, and our Discord. You know what? I think this change is going to work out after all.
What change?
Yeah. Well, so like I don't even know. Like, okay, Rewind Monday. Okay, I can guess maybe just like cover something old on Monday, but like everything else, I'm like, I have no idea what's Bounding Battle Max. What's 01? Like you just have graphics and words. And then
now with 90% more stock footage.
Yeah, and the stock footage beginning, I was about ready to get into that. It's like, what the hell am I watching?
Yeah, it's weird because, like I said, I don't know too much about bounding into comics generally, but it's so vague and nondescript, and I'm kind of surprised that instead of stock footage, they didn't have good like edited footage from non-woke comic book movies or whatever, Tim Burton's Batman or Iron Man in 2000. Basically like good comic book film footage that they could use instead of just the stock footage. I don't know, just make it a bit more visually interesting.
True. Yeah. I mean, you could always do like 8-second clips of all that stuff and be pretty safe.
Oh yeah, easy. Yeah.
That would also require more work. Yeah.
Well, so this has this video only has 187 views, by the way. So whatever, at least 187 people now are more confused
than count.
It's crazy. And like the John F. Trent has disappeared from the website. He's like, he used to be in every video. He was the guy doing every video.
He was the guy who ran the videos and pretty much ran the website, it seemed like, and now he is gone. Yeah.
Oh god, because I didn't even know they really had a YouTube channel. Because looking at those videos, like 300, 100 views, like considering that bounding into comics is meant to be like the linchpin to so much of like reactionary geek culture, you'd think that they'd have a bigger YouTube presence, right?
Yeah, well, it's always been the interesting thing about them. Like, there's not much of a Twitter presence for them. There's not much of a YouTube presence for them. It's all based on that website.
So here this is the most overt thing I've seen so far that they've done since the change. And look, they got 379 views on that one because they just put a photo of a trans creator, Mags Viciaggio, on there, and she's wrote the what's the Zack Snyder thing, Rebel Moon comic book companion or adaptation or whatever it is.
Oh yeah, they were upset about that.
They were mad about that because apparently a trans can't write things. I don't know. And then look, John Del Rose, he's a Nazi. Just want to say that anytime he comes up, that's what he is. It's not a word I use.
What's the channel's most popular video? Does it have a
Let's see.
It just seems so weird because even you'd think that they might hyperlink or embed the videos into their website and they get some traction.
Lightyear to feature gay couple after Disney comes out opposing anti-grooming.
Even then, only 150k views. I say only, but that's still, you'd think that they'd have a bit more. I don't know. Maybe I'm over
more than my most seen video. Shit, it's pretty jealous of those numbers right now.
No, but like I said, I consider that this is like a cornerstone of reactionary geek culture. I don't know. I guess they must have gone woke because they've gone broke.
Look, here's where they're doing the ginger erasure narrative.
Oh god,
every single redheaded comic book character that's been race swapped.
Part 1.
Part 1, yeah. Where's part 2? It didn't do as well, I guess. New Eternals clip confirms gay couple with son. And this is just misinformation because this comic, it was still going to second and third printing. I think 5 issues in, it was just 6, something like that. It was crazy. I've never seen a comic series that retroactively, because they didn't announce that the whole thing reveal of him being bisexual wasn't until I think issue 6. And so that caused all of the previous issues to go back to print 2 or 3 times. It was crazy. And yeah. They like to lie about that.
Yeah, they like to talk about how that series ended after only 18 issues. It's they did essentially a soft reboot because it's a comic book series and #1 sell better. That was it.
Oh, that whole Lashana Lynch thing, that whole discourse was absolutely embarrassing to watch because they were she's replacing Daniel Craig as James Bond, but everyone knew that Daniel Craig was going to be in No Time to Die. So the issue at its root was just there's a black woman in the new Bond film. That just was the issue.
Mm-hmm.
She was just the new 007 because if you remember at the end of Spectre, he quit. So he's just a free agent right now. So there's a new 007 and she's new 007. That's it. She's not James Bond. He's still James Bond.
It's like we mentioned near the beginning with it's the deliberate abstraction, like we talked about with Davros and Isaac Newton. So it's trying to misinform people into thinking Daniel Craig's not coming back because this black woman's taken the role instead. It's deliberate abstraction and misinformation to rile people up.
Yep. Instead of Daniel Craig was like really didn't want to have to come back the last 2 movies almost, and like,
they paid him a lot.
What
of
did he
money,
say? He'd rather
and
walk on glass or something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
he
wanted to,
said some.
unrelated, but like I kind of wanted to address this just because in case anybody's making this mistake. So there's information is coming out every day basically about Jonathan Majors and that whole situation, as in his assault trial, it's so okay. So right now I'm looking at on Twitter. There's a whole bunch of people posting. Apparently, TMZ got a hold of some video footage of the one of the incidents in question, because it seems like this stuff had happened before the one that's really at in question right now. But like so, and they had already this had already been described, but now we're seeing it where he gets out of the car and his girlfriend or partner, whatever she was chasing after him, and he's running and she's chasing him and she's hitting him and stuff like that. And it's like, yeah, that's not fucking good. However, I'm seeing people using that as an excuse to say, look, he clearly didn't, this is she was the aggressor. He didn't do anything. That's fallacy. And you don't know that. And like to try to just jump to her being the one in the wrong here, instead of the fact what's most likely and seems likely that they were both incredibly fucking toxic to each other. And just because this one thing is what got caught on video doesn't mean he is without any kind of blame. And I would avoid that just because, question those kinds of presumptions just because you like Kang or whatever the hell. Look, I'm a big MCU fan. I like his Kang, but you got to be realistic here.
Yeah, with Jonathan Major stuff, it all has to be taken at a grain of salt at this point. We don't know the full story. We may never know the full story. Just it'll play out as it plays out. And I do feel like Aspie, you are probably behind because you are. And thanks for posting, but like you're chatting trivia questions, answers.
Who's that? What?
The Aspie Antichrist. They are.
Oh.
Yeah. They're just saying the trivia question answers from like a couple hours ago.
Yeah, might be.
Yeah, I do. I respect the commitment, though.
Yeah,
I respect the commitment. Thank you, Aspianicus. Thank you.
Exactly,
You're
crazy
spoiling
joke.
it.
I'm seeing that's what. Yeah, it's. I already had my understanding of this pre-formed because I formed it with that situation. It's like, okay, I'm seeing it again. Stop doing this. Like, both can be wrong and both can be toxic and terrible. That's
I think
definitely the case with Johnny and Ingrid. Sorry.
Yeah, I think it becomes part of like just a coordinated attempt to just exhaust and discombobulate people with just like the conflicting stories and like I'm sure it is a very complex situation with like Jonathan Majors. It's just like I'm presuming the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard situation was also very complex and everything, but there's so much information that I think it's deliberately meant to sort of make you indifferent to it all, make it so impossible to follow that it exhausts you. Like I still don't know half of the information about the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard thing. It's none of my business, of course, but it's like it becomes impossible to follow because there's so much lore, and I'd rather not approach the subject like that. And I think maybe the whole Jonathan Majors thing is they're playing from that game.
Mm-hmm. Listen, I've gone through the divorce. I've done the messy divorce thing. I did things during my divorce I regret. I hope my ex has done things during the divorce she regrets as well. But it's one of those things where it's like I want to put it behind me. Like, and the fact that like Johnny and Amber had that shit televised, it's like I would never want that shit televised. And it's just one of those things where like when you're angry, you're like, oh, this person did this person did that, and then after a few years after it settles, it's like, fuck, I was just really like emotional and enraged, and I really shouldn't have done that. So I think a lot of that stuff's going to be stuff they regret bringing out, but yeah, it's important to move on. It's important for everybody to move on.
Indeed. So unrelated to anything really, but I think it's I don't know, fun. I guess it is related technically to the Chudpocalypse stuff. Brokeback Mountain was released 18 years ago. It's a good movie, and some people are doing some retconning in their memories in order to make it fit with the current culture war shit. You know, greatest non-woke movie of all time on homosexual love. A tremendous celebration of life. And that's also a bad take there. That's stupid. But like, you know, and then there was other ones that just, what are you talking about, man? Like, how is this? If you're gonna assume woke is a thing, and it's like, I've seen them talking about it in. There's like a character is gay. A character is mentioned as being gay in a movie, and that's it. And that's woke.
Yeah.
And this movie. And I was like, oh, I know what it is. It must be because they're ashamed and in the closet, and that's what they like. They want any gay characters to be ashamed and in the closet, and that if they, I don't know.
Well, I mean, we all know if it was released today, it'd be screamed as woke.
Oh yeah. I was going to say that it's kind of like whatever your headcanon for culture is, everything before 2014 or 2016, whenever your personal threshold is, everything released before then is good and not woke. Everything after that is bad and woke. Like if Aliens was released today, or Alien, or Tomb Raider was released today, brand new, it would be decried as woke. If Terminator was released today, it would be decried as woke.
Yeah, those are the Terminator and Alien are the ones they love to trot out, and it's like, you know, you'd call it woke, you know, you would.
They grandfather things in, is what I like to say. It's grandfathered in, and basically, if it existed before they came of age and became politically aware or aware of any of these things, then it's like, okay, that gets a pass. I can justify it. You know, after that, nope.
I mean, my joke has always been wokeness wasn't invented until Ghostbusters 2016 or something.
Right.
Like that. That's when they started screaming about it.
If you haven't, Mr. TARDIS, if you'd like to really understand kind of this stuff in just the most really amazing way, Pillar of Garbage has a video called Woke Spotting that is very fucking
yes,
good.
Yes, I have seen Pillar of Garbage videos are really good. There's a term he uses in that series. I forget what it's called. It's he uses woke is a something term. I can't remember the exact word he uses, but it is one of those ones where it's a signifier. It's a malleable term based on who's saying it or who's listening to it. I forget the term. I need to write it down because it's a very smart phrase. It's a very smart word. He's a smart guy.
It's probably not this, but it might be something similar to where's it at? Let's see. Hasta la vista. Nuance and context.
I love that. Terminator 2 is genuinely my favorite film ever. So
it was mine for a long, long time. It's still one of, yeah.
It's an amazing action movie. Just
hit that. That meme was bullseye directly. That was made for me. I saw Terminator 2 at a re-release a couple of months back. It wasn't the extended edition, sadly, which I think is the best way to view it. But still, I'm so glad I've been able to see it on the big screen.
Yeah, that is cool. I feel like I'm aging myself. I saw it on big screen when it came out. No, I feel old.
To have been you. That's so cool.
I mean, yeah, I saw it on the screen when it came out as well. It was a whole thing. I think I probably fell in love with all kinds of things at once in that experience, like theaters, action movies, science fiction movies, just like Schwarzenegger, all of it.
The first Terminator is the only one in the series that I've not seen on the big screen.
Oh, actually, I've not seen Salvation, but yeah, Terminator, the first one would be the only one I'm interested in seeing in the big screen.
I did see Salvation. I was working in a movie theater that summer, and I saw a whole bunch of movies for free, and that was one of them. And
I mean, I've seen it since then, and I mean, I think it's fine for Terminator sequels after the second one, but it's like after the second one, it's like,
I'll plant my flag and say that Genesis is the only bad film. The rest of them can be middling to great, but that's the only one where I'm like, nah, firm thumbs down.
True. Now let me ask you this: do you consider Dark Fate as like the canonical third film, or?
I don't know, because it's the third. Isn't it like the third failed trilogy? Like
Yes.
Salvation, Genesis,
Yeah.
and oh no, it might even be the fourth failed
I
trilogy.
mean,
Depends what Terminator
Salvation,
2 was
I
trying to
think, was an actual attempt to continue from 3, and then they keep on rebooting it from there.
do. I think that Terminator 2 ends like The Legend of Zelda: The Ocarina of Time, and it's a split
Perfectly.
timeline,
Yeah.
and it's
Mhm.
whatever works for you, I guess. But
Yeah.
I have no strong opinions on what the third Terminator film is, but I enjoy almost all of them except for Genesis.
I'm not right. Genesis is probably my least favorite because that is so all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, so like, you know, I've heard you say that before, Crazy Joe. It's like, and I wanted to like Rise of the Machines so much, and there's stuff to like about it, especially the ending, ballsy ending, love it. You
Yeah.
know, I still like that ending, but like, there's a lot of stuff that's just kind of corny. That's the talk to the hand one. You know, like, come on, don't do that.
Well, I mean, I know it's a minor nitpick, but you know what drives me nuts? Like they always are trying to upgrade the villain in the Terminator movies, and they really you can tell they really try with the Rise of the Machines. But the more you think about, she is not remotely an upgrade from the T-1000, mainly just because she has an exoskeleton that can be destroyed.
Yeah,
I mean, so like, no, that's not the franchise. That's Gabriel. That's just John Connor. That's not the franchise. I don't think John Connor is the franchise because he wasn't in the first movie either. Like he was the idea of him was what was being protected. Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, I like whenever a movie recognizes a need to kind of move on like that, and it was pretty, you know, pretty gutsy to just say, yeah, like, well, let's just open the movie like this. Say, fuck this John Connor stuff, and it's like, I love John Connor. Like that was my dude, Edward Furlong, growing up. But like, I don't know. I didn't have a problem with it. I guess the main thing that it did wrong, in my opinion, was that okay, we got rid of the John Connor storyline, but then they didn't do anything different enough with the new storyline. It was kind of just like the same thing, kind of like plastered over with the new terms. That would be the thing that I didn't love. But anyway,
yeah. If anyone wants to like revisit Terminator 3, check out just how good the special effects are for a film released 20 years ago.
Truly,
like that was like genuinely like cutting edge stuff at the time, and still for the most part does hold up visually. Like story wise, it falters, but the effects actually don't. They've aged incredibly well.
What it is that I don't like sorry.
I was going to say a lot of effects in that one are still practical as well, so it does a good job with it.
The thing that I think makes that movie not look great, even some of the effects, is the way that it's shot. Like the cinematography is kind of like television-y in a way compared to, it's not very cinematic looking to me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think a lot of the dialogue scenes are, but when it's like the VFX team or the second AD takes like the second unit director takes charge of that film, that's when it comes to life, I think.
Sure.
But, you know, I'm a Terminator 3 apologist.
All right. Well, what else we got?
Chuddies? I think yeah, Chuddies. We want to talk about Chuddies?
So I like how that whole tangent was because of that meme with the Terminator 2 clip. I'm sorry for that rabbit hole.
No, dude, never apologize.
Yeah,
we got through all of the main things we wanted to talk about, and you know, if there's a good rabbit hole tangent to get onto, it's about Terminator. So
yeah, just streams are about tangents and rabbit holes lots of times. So how far am I going to dive in here? Let's find out. True.
All right. What was said? Sorry, I can't see the thing right
tangents are fun.
Yep. So the Chuddies. We're gonna talk about the Chuddies. I've mentioned them a little bit, a couple times here and there. I just need to find where all of my imagery that I made is real quick. Sorry. Oh, there it is. So, sorry. Go ahead, Bob.
I was just gonna say, all I have to say is I still haven't seen the trailer for it, but I am excited to watch it.
Have you seen the Goblin song?
No.
So there's going to be a musical number in the next Doctor Who episode, and it's the Goblin song, and they've released it early, and it's currently like number 2 in the British charts. And all money being raised from the release of the single is going to Children in Need, the British charity. So there's this campaign to try and get it as the Christmas #1, which is not going to happen because the singer from Fairy Tale of New York passed away a few weeks ago. So that's a guaranteed Christmas #1 now. But we're trying to make the Goblin song Christmas #1.
No. And I'm sure a musical number in a sci-fi series, I'm sure, will be handled logically and calmly.
And Crazy Joe Adventures Anna and the Apocalypse is so good, really good. Me and my wife watch it every year for Christmas.
I need to watch that.
Yeah, I need to watch it. I've heard of it.
Shaun of the Dead meets La La Land, really good.
You know, I'm not a huge fan of La La Land, but Shaun of the Dead's one of my classics. So,
Yep.
Flip that.
So, the first annual maybe anti-fandom awards.
Yeah.
We're gonna be doing that. It's kind of a, I don't know how we're going to format it. We want to do like a best of, maybe worst of to 2023. It'll probably be once 2024 has started and TurfNation rejoins us and whatnot, because he's on vacation 76 of the year. And so we want to give awards and stuff like, but what I'm asking of you guys is to let us know what kind of categories we should have, and nominees as well, like who. And I'm talking, just think outside the box. Obviously, best video, and these are all in the context of the kind of content that we do, right? So like, best video that debunks an anti-fandom narrative, or best best new YouTuber who talks about this stuff. Best editing in an anti-chud video or whatever, and then like, but also maybe just for fun we can have like cringiest chud. I don't know, things like that. It's up to you. Help us out here. So we'll be asking for those. I'm gonna come up with something. I meant to do that before this today.
Maybe like best new quote, like "Don't current day me."
Yeah, current day. I mean, well, that'd be worst chud who provides misinformation. I think.
Yeah,
would be the way to go with that. Worst lies. Worst content creator. Worst things said. Sure. Yeah. I mean, and then we can even get technical with it. Editing, lighting. Script, whatever. Best streamer, who knows? Just we'll figure it out. And then also we just need nominees, because like we can think of a bunch of them, I'm sure, amongst ourselves, but we need more. We want you guys to and I guess maybe I should say this: if they have fewer subscribers than us, we're not probably going to mention them.
Yeah, in fact, I'd probably go ahead and, unless there's some sort of special exception, and if they have less than 100K.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Yeah, because we don't want to platform anybody that doesn't, need to be platformed. So.
Now, smaller creators that do good work, I'm happy to platform. But yeah.
Well, that would get best performance, I think, right? Yeah, best. Best on-screen performance, probably. I think we can go ahead and say that one definitively.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think, Mr. TARDIS?
No, well, I'm thinking maybe because what we were talking about earlier about not just reveling in the negativity, but also like the best celebration of a particular franchise or something. From somebody who might do like response content or like talking about like reactionaries and stuff, but who because I think Pillar of Garbage has done some really good videos recently talking about Invincible and about Earth's Mightiest Heroes and stuff, for example. So yeah, because like let's put some positivity back into the world.
Okay, that's a good point. So so I guess in order to kind of like fit with it though, I think it's important that it be a creator who does or has kind of like done a decent amount of like speaking out against these things, because we want to encourage that. And Pillar of Garbage, to be full disclosure, Pillar of Garbage is the reason I thought of doing this, because after I watched his woke spotting review, his video, I was like, this is the best fucking video I've ever seen on this stuff, and I want to give him an award. And I was like, well, okay, so maybe I'll just do that. Anyway,
that sounds like fun.
Yeah.
Who is this Pillar of Garbage? I've never heard of him.
He's he's French, I think.
Okay. That sounds right.
It's pronounced Pilar.
Pilar. Yes.
Garbage.
Garbage. Yes.
It's actually European.
Yes, yeah. Good to know. Good to know. Yeah, that should be fun.
We should have a showdown. Yeah.
I've never seen Pillar of Garbage in person. I don't know what he looks like. I don't know if I could take him or not.
We don't either. We don't either.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Okay, so it's me versus some like weird ethereal specter who can like who's like he could be a cloud for all we know, and he just picks me up and throws me into the wall.
He's an ethereal cloud. That explains why he's so good at this and able to release stuff so quickly. That's really well edited.
So McLeod, no, I mean you've asked a few times now, and we haven't responded because I don't think any of us have. Right? Have you guys seen that?
No.
I think it's dropped over the course of this stream. Yeah, the new Alex Garland film about a sci-fi near future where the United States has another civil war, and Nick Offerman is playing the president.
Oh my God! Okay, I'm seeing it.
Yeah,
I think I'm gonna see it.
So yeah, I think the trailer has like dropped in the past like couple of hours, which which is probably why we've not been able to see it. But yeah, Kirsten Dunst, Jesse Plemons, Wagner Moura, pretty cool cast.
Yeah, 9 hours ago. Yeah, I did not see.
Okay.
I mean, I will probably would get a copyright thing if we watched it, but we can kind of skim through the.
I mean, I will say in general, I think Alex Garland's great.
Yes.
Not perfect, but pretty damn good.
I've not seen Men.
I haven't seen
like
it
his
either.
latest
That's the one I've
film.
heard get criticized a lot. But let's see, Ex Machina was awesome.
I've heard. Oh yeah, Ex Machina is good. There was another film he did that I really liked. But I can't remember.
Annihilation.
I think he did.
Annihilation. That's the one. Annihilation.
Yeah. Annihilation.
Legit.
Really...
The freaking I've been watching horror movies since I was a little kid, so like nothing really freaks me out anymore. But like there was that bear thing with the partial human voice thing that fucking freaked me. I was like, okay, all right, points for that, man. That's creepy as shit.
Yeah. Shudder recently dropped a like best 100 horror movie moments, and that scene with the bear and Annihilation made the list. And it's really cool to see like such a modern film make a list like that as well.
So this is definitely gonna be culture war content, I suppose. They're gonna talk about this, I believe. Wow, Kirsten Dunst looks I mean, I'm not trying to be mean. She just looks older than I was expecting here.
So she's playing a journalist in the film. So this is canonically what happened to Mary Jane after Spider-Man 3.
Yes.
Yeah, canonically, because she becomes a reporter for the Daily Bugle, and then there's a civil war, and predictable, easy jokes. This is low-hanging fruit.
This is
not smart comedy. Yeah. This is not smart comedy, folks.
we love that fruit. No, this legit looks great. Alex Garland overall, I think, is a fantastic filmmaker. That they're I'm glad he's still able to make stuff.
Yeah, he's definitely one of those filmmakers. I want him to just have the money to do whatever he wants, even if it's not always good. I mean, I kind of feel the same way about the Wachowskis. I don't love all their stuff, but like, just give them money, let them be creative. I want to see what they do.
I was thinking about rewatching Matrix Resurrections and seeing if I'm able to kind of like, because watching it the first time is like I see what they did and I get it, and I actually think that's probably the only sane way to approach the movie. But it also did not satisfy what I was really hoping for a Matrix.
It's a mixed bag. Like I definitely feel like it's probably the second best Matrix movie, but that's by like a pretty huge metric downward. But like it's definitely felt like something where I appreciate more than I like really enjoy it.
Is that Johnny Knoxville? Who is that?
No, that's Nick. I think that's Nick Offerman as the president, isn't it?
Oh, is it?
He's just not. He just doesn't have a beard. I think.
Oh,
okay. Shit. Yeah, I think. Okay, I can see it now. Okay.
But I'm so used to him not being clean shaven.
Yeah, that's true.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, this looks. This kind of looks like what The Purge wishes it was in a way.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And never quite got there.
personally, I can't wait for the purge to become an official thing, and then when it gets activated, I'm just gonna start pirating a whole bunch of movies and music.
I'm
That's what
surprised
it's
that
used for,
wasn't
right?
like a full blown like SNL sketch or sketch or an official comedian sketch or something. Like, oh, I'm going out to commit murder. What are you doing? I'm staying home, locked in bed, pirating all of these films.
Yeah.
That shit. Hot take, Paul. I love the Confederate flag because how often do fucking losers just identify themselves so easily? Not often. So when they you know, I'm a fan of losers.
That is the useful
flying
element
that
of the
flag.
Confederate flag. You know,
Fucking losers with tiny penises. So
One game I've been playing recently to get a platinum trophy is Mafia 3. Which you know, from the Mafia game series, and it takes place like during segregation in America, like shortly after the Vietnam War, I think, actually. And there's basically, if there's a car with a Confederate flag on it, those folks are okay to kill in the game. Very, very likable and very unlikable people.
That's pretty funny. Let's see. Do we have anything else to cover?
no, I don't. But I was going
All
to say
right.
that like so I kind of want to do something. If I'm going to create a couple of Google forms real quick. You know, and if you want to end the stream, we can do that. But in the meantime, I'd like to play this clip. It's like a 10-minute clip of Pillar of Garbage's video from about Nerdrotic. And then whenever that's done, I would come back and give everybody the links to these Google forms so that they can give suggestions for nominees and categories and stuff like that. Is that
Okay, well, that sounds awesome. Yeah. Well,
I mean, unless we want to keep talking, then that's cool too. I'll
I
be
was
done
about
with
ready
this
to
in a
say,
couple minutes.
well, Mr. TARDIS, is there anything you want to promote? Because
Nothing outside of just my main channel, really. So yeah, like I said, Mr. TARDIS. You can search me. I do weekly live streams, although I'm taking Christmas week off for obvious reasons. But I will be talking about the recent Doctor Who specials, the Christmas special that's broadcasting on Christmas Day. Series 14 will be dropping in like April, May time. So you can check out those reviews when they happen. So yeah, subscribe. I've got a Patreon where you can watch my reviews early because they get content ID claimed, which is fine. I power through it. So yeah,
I know that.
I try not to get too bogged down in the reactionary responses and stuff like that because you know it's fun to do and I think it's worthwhile to do, but I don't want that to be like the majority of my channel. But it'd still be a case of like responding where I can and having fun with it as well. If you did want that, on the top there, it's the Conservatives Furious Over Pronouns and Disability in Doctor Who, where basically just for 2 hours I watch a bunch of back-to-back responses and videos and stuff, and it was fun. It was fun to put together. So check that one out if you want. Basically, the primer on how the genderly and undefinable Beep the Meep alien played by Miriam Margolyes broke their brains. It's very funny. So yeah, but also that William Hartnell review marathon. Yeah, all of that good stuff. Thank you so much for having me on this evening as well. It's been a pleasure being on this live stream and chatting with you
for
folks.
being here.
Yeah, and you're welcome back
awesome.
anytime.
Yeah, it's awesome to
thank you.
actually talk to you. As someone who really liked your stuff, like when my audience is like, "Hey, you should check out this guy," and I'm like, "Oh, this guy's based." You know, it's cool to actually talk to you.
And then so you know, just to speaking on the speaking about you know, pushing against this stuff to the amount that you do, I mean, it's appreciated, and I definitely wouldn't recommend anybody doing nothing but that. But like just having, you know, positive representation for something as big as Doctor Who, especially because I don't cover it, so you know, there's a I guess a blind spot there for me, and that's why, you know, you're always welcome to come back on, and we'll probably actually feature clips from you if you don't mind, whenever some of this stuff comes up.
No, that's absolutely fine. I will say though, don't use reactions. Don't use clips from my full-blown edited reviews. You will get content ID claimed from the BBC. The other stuff, go for the other stuff. Live stream clips, go for it. That's more of a warning for you for the BBC content.
Oh
ID
yeah,
claims
it's appreciated.
But yeah, the live stream stuff or the reaction stuff, go for it. It's always fun to share that stuff around because it's also just like rhetorical strategies and things like that.
Right.
The reason I do it is that it feels like every week I get a couple of emails and correspondence from people saying, "Oh, I used to watch this personality, I used to watch this person, but watching your responses and your videos kind of de-radicalized me and took me out of that rabbit hole, took me out of that dark place," and things like that. And, you know, that's one reason why I do it. One particular person who I did do a reaction response video to, their family got in touch with me, very kindly appreciating my reaction video, and then that person, the family, became aware of that they were being a Nazi online, and then they stopped doing that stuff for a long time, and then to get those emails saying, "Thank you, I got my family member back because your reaction video informed us that they were being a Nazi online, so we were able to talk to him and pull him out of that for a bit."
That's wonderful.
So yeah, when your reaction and response videos are being endorsed by the family members of the reactionaries in question, it's pretty validating.
Right. No, yeah, I mean, we get those emails and messages of people like, "Thank you, you helped pull me out of this stuff," and and often times it's just because there's a lack of different content than what that stuff that these guys make, the chuds make. It's algorithm fuel. It's it's easy, it's repetitive, and that's exactly what YouTube apparently wants. And that makes it seem to have a dominance, and people will get drawn into that stuff without even realizing that there's any other option. You know what I mean? They just think this is just what the fans think about this thing. And so a lot of times just seeing other people saying something different means a lot. So that's an announcement for everybody or I guess an encouragement for everybody to make content. If you ever wanted to make content about positive versions of fandom, you should do that. So
yeah,
brainwashing. But yeah, thanks, man. Thanks for being on.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's been a genuine pleasure.
We got you had a super chat here. Herald of Galactus. Happy holidays, boys. Thank you.
Was that you or me?
It's not me. It's not my channel. That's for sure. So it's either on the initiative or on your channel. No, it's not on the initiative. It's on your channel for sure. Then.
Oh, okay.
So
well, thank you. Thank you very much. Yes, happy holidays.
5 whatever that thing is.
Pounds? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. We just kicked the Brit off. He could have told us. But no.
Yeah.
And then let's see. Yeah, I learned about that on stream last night. Very
dude, that
sad.
actually kind of surprised me. Yeah, he was not old. No.
61's not very old. Yeah. So he said some say he had a short illness and then just passed away. And it's like, what short illness would it have been? I don't know. And then this is that's silly. It's not political to people who don't understand the politics of Japan, I guess. Or maybe they just are media literate overall. They don't have somebody telling them that this is political and woke is really probably the main thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. What
you there?
Yeah, I'm here. What
oh, okay.
Sorry. Yeah. All right. So I got this. I've got this pillar of garbage clip. If you want to take a break and we can come back in a few minutes.
All right. All right.
Yeah. So pillar of garbage. This is about nerd erotic. It's very, very fucking good. It's very good at explaining the grift and the network and how this grift operates. So, but if you want to give suggestions, recommendations for content creators and categories for the Chuddies, for the Anti-Fandom Awards, when we come back, I will have links to forms that you can drop those recommendations into. We really hope that you will participate in that because we need your feedback for it. So see you in a few minutes.
Nerdrotic's impact on this little corner of YouTube isn't simply in the videos he puts out. It is in those, but it's also in these streams, and in the clipped highlights such as these, and not always in ways which are immediately apparent. Sure, the streams make for low-effort standalone content tasks, farming super chats, but these podcasts also double as brainstorming/briefing sessions. After all, if you try hard enough, you can poke holes, dig out foundations for reactionary rants disguised as readings in anything yourself. But you don't even need to try if you get a half dozen professional pedants in a Zoom call to do it for you. With Friday Night Tights, Nerdrotic can at once outsource the brainstorm and see to it that the wider Nerdrotic family of chuds is fully equipped with the resulting talking points to dust off and use whenever. Nerdrotic's influence goes beyond either channel, goes beyond his streams even, and suffuses the channels and web presences of his guests. That influence ripples out to other people, other channels, other podcasts, spreading far enough that it begins to take on an organic semblance even, but it isn't. They get their topics and talking points from each other. They get their statistics from the same poisoned wells, and they work together to build mutually supportive structures of outrage, to unleash and direct torrent after torrent of targeted negativity, and to maintain the narratives that legitimize that targeting process. Thing woke, woke bad, thing bad, here's why. And by the time you contest the why, they've already moved on, already stacked more ideological Jenga atop that position. That pattern is wider than Nerdrotic's network. The web it's produced is a multi-centered one, but in Nerdrotic, on his channels, in these streams, and in those adjacent web presences, it's perhaps more blatant than anywhere else. That is, if you know what you're looking for. If you don't, if you take these guys at their word, consume the misinformation, the notions of objective flaws resulting from either imbecilic writers only bothered about getting paid by woke Disney, or just from degenerate moral failings, if you see the similarity in content strategy, not as the result of coordination, but as organic, various free thinkers just happening to arrive at the same obvious conclusions, you start getting angry, start getting suggested little else by the algorithm, and the cycle begins. You stop getting excited by the art at the center of all this and start dreading it. The pleasure you got from engaging with it once upon a time is replaced by a sort of astroturfed in catharsis as you revel in watching the guys who sold you this lie appear to prove it time and time again. It feels good to get angry about this. Easy, emotionally engaging answers go down a lot smoother than complex ones. That's how the audience is captured. That's how it grows. In comments, on social media sites, these anti-fans and their viewers feed the flames. Any dissent is viewed as cancel culture gone mad, feeds the persecution complex, kicks up the fear. All the while hanging out in these circles, your tolerance for casual racism or transphobia or whatever else is growing, because what is the big deal really? They're just joking. If you're offended, you're the problem. God, why is everyone such a snowflake these days? My life's not perfect, I've got my problems, but society doesn't let me be down about them because I'm straight or white or a guy or God forbid all of the above. And all those movies, games, TV I used to like, they all hate me for that. Apparently, I saw it on YouTube. You know, maybe there should be more people like me on screen. Maybe we really are under attack. Man, it seems like there's only a few sensible people left. People who get this. Oh boy, one of them's uploaded a new video. And so, as one, they swarm to YouTube every time another morsel of cathartic hate gets released, engage with the video, boosting it further still, and throng the comments section. Or, well, that's how it normally goes, because in a twist for the ages, if you scroll down from that video and look to the comments, you won't see swathes of 14-year-olds agreeing with the gang. You'll see a whole host of comments clapping back. This video went viral, and went viral outside of its target demographic. Responses across the internet, though most notably on TikTok, amassed millions of views. Internet users from within and without the Latino and comic book communities chimed in to point out the various inaccuracies and blatantly offensive angles of this video and thumbnail, exposing plenty of onlookers to Nerdrotic and the gang for the first time, onlookers so blissfully naive that the expected Nerdrotic apology became recognized and auto-suggested as a search term. Ripples from this outcry did indeed make it back to YouTube. A few less notable anti-woke channels saw opportunity in the drama and rushed in to play defense.
Nerdrotic is mocking being cancelled after a TikToker decided that they would stir up a firestorm online by focusing on Nerdrotic's Blue Beetle video.
Jesus Christ, how many of these guys are there? No apology came, of course. Instead, Nerdrotic doubled down. He's since used Let's Taco Bout as a title template a few more times on unrelated topics, either in an attempt to mine the controversy for all it's worth, or perhaps to try and demonstrate there's nothing intrinsically offensive about taco-themed punnery, which is true, and therefore that he did nothing wrong, which is not, and obviously does not follow from the previous point. But those among you who are already somewhat familiar with Nerdrotic and Friends might be a little confused. Sure, there's plenty of ignorance and insensitivity on display here.
We're tough people. That's what we do.
Mexicans are sneaky, dude. Come on.
Survive because of racism.
There's a good few brazen, alt-right conspiratorial interjections.
Playing Hillary Clinton.
She was.
Evil, yes.
No, the vaccine killed your dad.
Half the panel's just acting offended by the film's values, responding to it with incredulity and mockery more so than critique or review, and even the few moments of actual discussion are suffused with conservative, return-to-tradition aesthetics.
I think that was a great aspect of this. One of the few great aspects of the movie, that it was really centered on family. I like the fact that there was a love interest and it wasn't like she was shutting him down or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, I like that. That's kind of back to traditional, some storytelling that we don't fucking get.
Also, you know, fat phobia to round out that list.
I'm like, we're brown. We're
Maybe
victims. I'm
stop
like,
feeding the daughter. Maybe stop feeding her.
But so what, right? None of that is remotely new here. That's what they do. The inaccuracies, the poor media comprehension, all of those problems we spent so long discussing are not remotely unique to this specific Nerdrotic daily upload. Why the response, the callouts, the woefully naive expectations of a Nerdrotic apology? Well, there's only really two things that stand out between this Nerdrotic video and all the other ones. One, the thumbnail is a little more overt, a little more overly risque than normal, and two, perhaps as a result, people outside the usual Nerdrotic geeks and gamers Friday Night Tights circle took notice of it. And that's good. It's always good for more people to become aware of the idiocy of those leading this anti-woke grift, but it's not all good. This isn't nearly as big a dub as it seems. The thing to understand is that the backlash is not from the fans of Nerdrotic, of his podcast, or any of those guests. This isn't the end of that boiling frog syndrome. This isn't a regular audience who have seen their faves go a bridge too far and have realized there's a problem here. The TikToks, the backlash, those top comments are from a wholly external demographic. Nothing's changed with Nerdrotic's fans, and so nothing's changed on the channel. There's something of an inherent weakness to external backlash like this then. People who are unfamiliar or less familiar with Nerdrotic et al. Seeing and critiquing a video like this are always going to focus on the specifics of these videos, the critiques and comments that jump out as wrong or offensive, rather than those trends and patterns behind those specifics. Because, well, if they're not familiar with the MO, if they don't have that context, the comments, the thumbnail, and everything else seem like random, discrete instances of ignorance, bigotry, and poor criticism. And if someone's ignorant, you can correct them. If the nitpickers can be proven wrong, maybe they'll know for next time. And if the grounds of those generalizing assumptions can be debunked, maybe those assumptions will stop. But as we've seen, the details, the specifics, aren't the point. They're the excuse. Callouts are satisfying, but they don't really move the needle. The root of the problem here has nothing to do with tacos, nothing to do with Blue Beetle even. The problem is the pattern of selective scrutiny that determined well before that stream was ever planned that Blue Beetle would be subjected to that torrent of negativity, and that the torrent's constituent nitpicks and criticisms would necessarily be molded into one more reactionary warhead for the culture war.
Culture war is good. We're in the fucking culture war, whether we like it or not.
Yes.
We are in it. And it's going to last a while, and it was never going to be fucking easy.
Blue Beetle, the taco bouting of Blue Beetle, these are but single points in that pattern. And that pattern is what needs to be called out, plastered across TikTok, disseminated. The fact that this isn't about ignorance or accidental insensitivity, the hate isn't organic. They didn't slam Blue Beetle and the wokeness behind it because of these inaccurate complaints and cultural mischaracterizations. They're slamming the film, making those complaints and mischaracterizing this culture because they don't like that wokeness, and they've built a market of Pavlovian bigots who don't like wokeness either. Whatever it is, don't ask me to define it. I can.
Whoa! What's that? Oh, that's a shit. Why don't you go and subscribe to it? I dare you. I fucking dare.
Or bad thumbnails even. These are...
That's a shit. Look, TurfNation had perfect delivery in that moment, like flawless. The delivery is fucking masterful. It's a shit.
I know. I can't help but chuckle every time I see it. It's like, oh god, that's funny.
So in the
why you hit subscribe?
Considering he didn't plan that at all, it was just like a completely impromptu thing. It's like, oh god, how does he do that? You know, and then there's the moment where his quote unquote dog had died. That was also flawless. As you see on the screen there, and in the chat, there are links. There's a link. Depending on which channel you're on, it'll be from whatever channel that is. To fill out nominee and category suggestions for the chuddies. If there's any problems with the form, I guess let me know. You can email me, or if you're on Discord, you can Discord me and let me know. But I think I did it right. But yeah, if it's a video that you want, a specific video you want us to consider, look at, please link the video, or at least use the exact title of that video so that we don't have to like search around for it. If there's any, like, if it's a specific moment of something, if you could link the time code of that video, that would be greatly appreciated. And yeah, you know, but you know, suggestions. We're open to whatever. Just don't be a dick, you know. Please.
You see, I was gonna be a dick, and now
no text box to type in. So I'm off to a good start. Let me fix that. Let me see.
I'm just gonna say you took the win from my sales.
Okay, so yeah, you've got I got your email. That's part of it. So let me fix the rest. Really? Is this not included? I don't understand it.
All right, now I have to dive in here.
So there's a section 1 and a section 2, and is it not showing section 2?
Yeah, no, the only thing I have to fill in is the
email.
Wait, yeah. So it's the email, and then next categories, your answer. Oh, yeah, and then it's just text box category nominee suggestions, and then your answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's right. So I think yeah, you're on the right thing. Just post in there.
But you need to go? Do you need to go to section 2 or something like that? Is that what it is? Like you got to click something?
No,
else
I see what they're looking at. I'm looking at the exact same thing they are. In fact, crap, I'm not screen sharing anymore. Hold on.
I can do mine. Make sure I'm not giving away any information here. I don't think so. So yeah, it's got section 1 for the email, right? And then section 2, where there's a long answer text box that you can fill out here, right? Should be able to. No.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I need to fill out. So I need to. Right, man. This is kind of confusing. Should be able to type right there, or is that just on my end? I think it might be.
Yeah, here's what I should.
Sorry.
Excuse me. But yeah, you should be able to submit the stuff there.
I think I know what it is. I think that is just our end of it, and then the question would come after that, maybe.
I don't know if you intended more, but yeah, you can type in the answer there. Yeah. It's all a work in progress, people.
I've never really used. I mean, I have, but I didn't do too well with it the first time. So let me link it again. Let me try. Maybe the new link will update it for you. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
It looks like they've got it. So
cool. Cool. Thanks, guys. I know it's awkward. I know it's asking you to do a thing, and we appreciate that you do it.
This is how live streams work.
Oh my god, come on now, man. Come on. Wait, look, do you want to I've already asked you, do you want to be like our I don't want to say secretary, but you could do our work for us like that behind the scenes, and
Yeah.
we can continue to pay you as much as we have been.
Yeah, I know we've been paying you a lot. In fact, maybe we should be a pay cut.
So there's a thing I made, and it kind of feels awkward to do this now because of Jonathan Majors. But look, let's just try and we didn't cast the guy in the fucking Marvel Cinematic Universe, but I made this thing, and I just wanted to show it real quick. It's only like a minute or so. If you watch pitch meetings, which I still do sometimes, I don't think
I don't have an issue with Ryan George. I don't think he always has the best takes, but like, dude, I like pitch meetings have gone a little dry for me, but like his little skits are still hilarious in my opinion.
So yeah, I mean, I honestly, as repetitive as it is, I still like all of his, oh wow, and the get off my back. Oh, I'll get all the way off that thing or whatever. Like that stuff still
Super
makes me
easy,
chuckle.
barely an inconvenience.
Love that shit.
So, you have some new Marvel content for me? Yes, sir. So anyway, Victor Timely's not into clocks in that way, so he shuts her down, and then the good guys manage to bring him to the TVA. Oh, well, good for them. And Victor Timely's gonna be like, oh, what is going on? Well, what's that voice you're doing? Well, he's a big old smart science nerd, so he talks like that. Oh, he does?
So what you're about to see is this is my edit of my experience having watched this pitch meeting. So what you're about to see is exactly what I did, and then I just edited it into an edit.
Yeah, he talks like Donald Glover at the 2-minute mark of the Derek comedy sketch Jerry from 16 years ago. What? Yeah. Kind of a super specific reference. It's accurate. I just don't know that anyone's familiar with that. And they should type Derek comedy Jerry into the YouTube search bar and see how Donald Glover talks at the 2-minute mark.
Anyway, Michael, the Pythagorean theorem? Yeah, it's a squared plus b squared.
Hello, children. It's me, the principal. Don't mind me. I'm just here to observe.
Or I did well, or I will, and I did almost.
You, but not you.
Can we just take a look?
Hey, I heard one of your classmates vote his pants. Oh, what an idiot. Is that my seat?
About this hot cocoa machine, could I take?
Have you kids met the new kid Brian? He seems pretty cool. He likes to skateboard.
Anyway,
my God, he's right.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit more.
Oh my God.
Yeah, a little bit more cartoonish, but it is ultimately the same character that they're doing, kind of thing.
Yeah, I didn't know that existed. That's wild.
I didn't either. I was like, he stopped and he looked at the camera, which he never does, and I was like, I think he's serious. I think he really wants us to look this up. and I looked it up. It's like, holy shit. Morgan submitted to the form.
Hell yeah.
Well, I mean, I kind of meant for you not to. I meant to block you from that, Morgan. No, kidding. Totally kidding. Yeah, I think we should just take Pillar of Garbage's brain and put it into a robot and make him make a whole bunch of videos at once somehow.
No,
what?
No, you can't do that. I already did that for my channel. You can't do that.
Okay.
He's mine.
All right. Fair enough. So before we go, there's a couple of things that I've been wanting to show for quite a while, and I just haven't remembered to do it. They're just completely unrelated to anything, but still awesome. Is this post that Elijah Wood responded to? I don't know how old this is, but it's from Star Wars posted about, or Star Wars Holocron, whatever that means. Posted about Rise of Skywalker, saying, did you know the Sith Eternal Fleet seen in Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker was created by Sith cultists on Exegol, who indoctrinated Exegol's population with their Sith values and raised and trained their children to become officers, mechanics, and soldiers for the Final Order. Whoa. And Elijah Wood had the the appropriate response. No, how could we have known? It literally didn't fucking tell us this.
Yeah. When was that fucking established? What?
You don't. That's not how movies work. Star Wars. You don't just like do a thing and then go, "Oh, check our Twitter." I don't know.
Yeah. Look up our cool Twitter facts. What? No.
I fucking laughed my ass off when I saw this. I was like, "Oh, perfect, Elijah Wood."
That is an accurate take. Yes.
He speaks for all of us.
Rise of Skywalker explained things so well.
Mm-hmm.
And by so well, I mean not really at all. Just kind of threw stuff at the screen.
Somehow the Emperor is alive.
Yes.
Wow. Wow.
You know, we were gonna work with this idea that maybe Kylo Ren could be the main villain of the franchise, and that would, you know, and that we know that sounds interesting and cool. But you know what? Fuck it. Let's bring back the Emperor because somehow.
Yeah. I mean, but they would have done that, except it was part of the movie that, like, critically and financially was very, very successful. But because some Nazis online fucking talked a lot of shit on it, we can't do anything that movie set up. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot we're doing that. I should have saved that, honestly. But yeah, we're talking.
Well,
Rise
I mean, you know what? You know, you hit on it again because, guys, this is a trailer for Sunday's Fabcast.
And I will kill you. So, no. I'm totally kidding, but like, come on, man. Why that line of all lines?
Well, I mean, it's one of those things in correct context. I could see that line working, but that's not it.
It would work. It would be perfectly fine if there was any attempt at explaining it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like there really isn't. It's kind of just like expects you to kind of go, oh well, you know, he survived. But that, like, him saying that is the presumption, is that's all the information they want to give you about it, really.
Yeah.
And if there had been like a scene that kind of showed how you know, I mean, obviously it's a clone thing, right? Isn't that what it is? I only saw it the one time.
Well, I mean, I've seen it a couple times, but it's been years. They tried to say, I know they tried to say that like Rey was like cloned, but I since that's not established in the movie, I'm just going with the canon that I originally played with, that the Emperor, old melty face, was all fucking people.
Yeah, he fucks
Yeah.
for sure.
I think it's good to establish that in Star Wars canon because that movie doesn't debunk that. In fact, that movie seems to be a solid point in its favor.
I mean, but who was he fucking? So was it like two clones? Was it the Emperor fucking himself? Like two Emperor clones? And it's just like you got one on the bottom. He's the power bottom, and he's like more power. You know. I don't know.
Oh, Rise of Skywalker. It is.
Who knows? Who knows?
It's pretty funny when you dive into it.
It is. It's frustrating. Look, I think, yeah, that dirty Palpatine dick. Exactly. And I've said before that I was actually really, really fucking psychically scarred by Rise of Skywalker. And I'm not, you know, I'm hesitant to use that kind of language about stuff because I know how like chuds and toxic fans have like used that type of thing and it creates a trope, and it creates this idea of like, I mean, the difference is that I didn't go around making content and saying it all the time, but internally I was just like, I don't even want to think about this. This really fucking hurt me because of it wasn't just the end of the sequel trilogy. It was the end of all of them, or all of the Skywalker saga.
Yeah. I mean, that's what they sold it as.
I'd been, you know, that'd been my life since I can remember. So like it was, and then not to mention the fact that The Last Jedi being my favorite Star Wars movie. You know, I think it's a fucking fantastic movie. It's the one that I would probably rewatch the most, other than maybe like Empire Jedi might go first, but yeah. So
I don't rank it that high, but it's definitely one of my favorites. And like that's the thing, like the sequel trilogy, I thought was going so well until the third one, and the third one just was like, oh, that's how you ended it. That hurts, guys.
I mean, Force Awakens, all the shit that people give it, rightfully so, to a degree of being like a rehash, it still shouldn't. It's still good. It's still an entertaining,
it's a
and
well
enjoyable
done
film.
rehash. It's a well executed rehash. Which I mean, execution is 90% of the movie, in my opinion.
Julia, reel it in. I know. We mentioned a dick, but Julia, you gotta tighten it up here. Sequel haters. Do they have sex? Well, I mean, I think it's kind of obvious.
I
that
mean,
they-
it's established that Palpatine in melty face form definitely has sex.
probably with himself. He probably had there was like a clone that had been, modified to have a womb, I suppose. And there you
No,
go.
I like the idea of him going to a bar and picking up on a woman.
Just
Hey,
like
baby, how you doing?
Closing time, last calls, and the last call, and it's just like Palpatine and like this one, really like, questionable lady sitting across the bar, and they just kind of look at each other like, really? What was that Saturday Night Live sketch they used to do that was kind of like that? It's like
I don't remember, but
the two disgusting people at the bar, and they're like,
it's like, I might as well.
yeah, it's like, yeah, and that must have been what happened for sure. That's canonically, and 80 people are watching us talk about this. That's insane.
I
Thank
know.
you.
Like,
Thank you.
the guys, next week the initiative stream will be entirely based on the Emperor Palpatine sex life.
We're going to be reading our fan
Easy
fiction
80
of Palps putting his dirty palpy dick into whatever. Like, we'll have conflicting fanfic. You guys get to decide which one you think is best, and we can go with that for our canon. After that, but no. Speaking of reading, though, you had an idea recently that was an idea I had before. But I'll let you...
yes. Like I said it, and then you said, "Hey, I had that idea," and I went, "Fuck, that does sound familiar."
It's okay. I mean, you look. There's such a thing.
I think it's
that
a
is
fun idea.
Because we were talking about maybe doing live readings of some Rippaverse comic books.
Yeah.
Like,
and listen, I have not read Isom 2. I haven't read Albacore. I probably should read them, but like it's like a lot of this chud content. Like, you can't get me to watch this shit unless I'm on stream. So there's an answer to that.
Well, so we can look at a couple of images if you want to from Albacore, the tuna book. So there's oh yeah, here we go. Trying my best to comment on this while not being ableist and toxic and stuff, but I'll just let you guys make your own judgments, I suppose. These are just from the first 5 pages. I was like, weird heads, weird heads, weird faces, weird blank stares going on. Like, this is Joe Bennett, who, if you know Immortal Hulk and other stuff that he's done, he's very good theoretically, but I guess he's just doing what he's being paid for, which is he's probably not getting paid as much as he's used to be honest. And he seems to kind of just not give a shit about this. And look, he gets you get what you deserve, and AirrickReloaded gets what he deserves.
Well, it might just be the Rippaverse does not inspire the best people, even if these people have somewhat creative abilities. Just the Rippaverse is not inspiring them.
Yeah. So this is what we say to the Rippaverse.
Get out of here!
Except for if we do a live reading, then we will actually welcome it so that we can make fun of it. But I mean, we wouldn't be changing the dialogue or anything like that. The whole point of it would be to, kind of like perform the dialogue, perform it, and see what happens.
Just essentially do reading as we go. We can do commentary and stuff like that, because I think that could be fun. I mean, like, if we attempted to just do a dry run trying to do this dramatically, I would probably fall asleep.
Maybe a lot of crunch. Yeah, I would not deny that or doubt that one little bit, that there was just like a lot of let's get this shit done. And he's using Glass House graphics, which we looked at a little bit. I guess I haven't uploaded that maybe. But me and DJ and Turf looked at it, where Glass House graphics is just kind of it's a comic book. They crank out comic book art. It's the most kind of capitalistic form of comic book artistry. Like, oh, you need some comic book art, pay us, and we've got a team of people. They'll just fucking crank some shit out for you. And it seems like what they're doing is, like, yes, Joe Bennett drew this, but it seems like they might be doing like touch-ups and then coloring and stuff like that on top of it. I don't know what the deal is, but it's not great.
Doesn't look great.
Yeah, he should be able to hire people better than. I mean, be honest. Chuck Dixon, okay, yeah. If longtime comics fans know who he is, but they also haven't given a shit in a long time. Nobody has, but well, he's not the artist, but still, you should be able to hire a writer like, I don't know. I don't know. If you can't attract any better writers to your thing than Chuck Dixon and the Soska sisters, like, who have never written a comic as far as I can tell. So, yeah.
That is an interesting pick.
I'm done.
I got a live stream tomorrow, guys. I'll put together some topics for it. That'll be at 4:00 Eastern Standard Time, usual time. And then I think that's gonna be my last live stream for like a week and a half, probably something like that. So yeah.
That's okay. I'm gonna be streaming a lot, but you guys look, you just hate independent comics. Fuck you, because this guy right here, Dean Page, he's got a couple of excellent comics that you can check out.
Yes, he does.
And I'm sure he will be happy to link that in the chat for us. But yeah, he's got
nudge, nudge.
The Return of Jake Sunrise, which is literally supernatural Western world kind of thing. You got a cowboy werewolf as the main character, like can't fucking go wrong. And then you've got what was her name? Cosmo Natalia, yeah. Which is it's a sexy book, folks. It's a sexy book, and it's got sci-fi stuff and beautiful colors and imagery, and check them out. So there you go. So have you looked at the Glass House website? It is a mess.
No, I have not looked at it.
We looked at that, and it's I don't know, maybe we could look at it another time. Maybe you should look at it tomorrow on stream or something, but it is a whole thing. You can read the whole issue for free. Can't you read the first 2 issues of Jake Sunrise? Isn't that what I thought I remembered? And then go ahead and link that guy in the chat there.
Yeah.
But yeah, you guys should also join our Discord. We forget to promote that, but you should.
I mean, like the stuff Dean does, like I look at Rippaverse art and like all that stuff, I'm like, this looks boring, I don't care. And then I look at the stuff Dean does and it looks exciting, it looks vibrant, it's completely different. Like I see like Isom and then something like Jake Sunrise next to each other at the store, I'm getting Jake Sunrise in a heartbeat.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, like, I'm not like the biggest, like, Westerns isn't a draw for me, but you tell me there's a Western where the character is a werewolf. Sometimes he just, like, at the most inopportune times, it seems like he turns into a werewolf. I'm gonna check that shit out for sure. Then I've got, yeah. Actually, we'll play on the way out the door. We will watch a teaser for Jake Sunrise, and then, presuming he has linked that into the chat, I would recommend you guys
nudge nudge
that we go check that out and read. You can read it for free. It's free comics, guys. Free comic books that are good, and nobody's trying to charge you an arm and a leg for it. Nobody's trying to sell you on culture war shit. Like, this doesn't have an agenda other than to entertain you, and it succeeds. It's everything that these chuds act like they're doing. You know, like, oh, we just don't want political comics. Did you know that in the Isom lore that, like, Texas has seceded? There was like a war and shit like that. That's all canonical. Do you know that?
Wild.
Yeah, that's a thing that they really. And then you're gonna act like your shit's apolitical. Come on, man, get out of here. Get out of here.
This is getting stupid.
And then there's this thing here, by the way, that we haven't had an opportunity to use this drop yet, but I'm gonna go ahead and use it.
Well, I don't know. Kill yourself.
Oh,
I guess.
no.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't care.
Fuck rags.
Yeah. I don't know. There's also, I'll be blunt about rags. Like last time I covered them, and honestly, like I'm taking a week off. I might cut that into a video because fuck it. But like, there's a part of me that almost feels sorry for him. Not because he's like worthy of sympathy, because he's a piece of shit. But like, all he does is negative shit. It's all he fucking knows. Period.
I see. I can't get a link. I just realized I can't get links via StreamYard chat. I'm gonna have to open up YouTube. I was gonna play this previous clip thing that I have. But if you, I will make sure to use that thing that you worked so hard on in the next one, man. I promise. Sorry. Unless somebody else can grab that link for me. God damn it, Gordy, you asshole.
Evil.
Anyways, subscribe. Go fill out the forms. Tell us some suggestions for nominees and whatnot. And how is there still 71 people watching when we're just like we're farting around?
We've been almost done for a while, but
I mean, we appreciate it, but like, man, I wouldn't be watching me right now. I'll tell you that much.
Like, man, Mr. TARDIS left. I'm out.
Oh, send on Discord. Okay, let's see. Oh, let me grab that and download that so that we can do it properly. And so Low Midnight of the Mind presents Return of Jake Sunrise. This is Dean Page and multiple artists. That's another cool thing about it, is that like there's various art styles that are all very cool and interesting, and all better and more vibrant, more lively, more interesting than anything you're going to see from the Ripperverse. I'm just going to start calling it that, the Ripperverse, because it sounds really lame.
It does. Well, I mean, it is. I mean, even Rippaverse sounds lame.
Nerdrotic won't debate us, man. Like we would love to talk to Nerdrotic. I mean, debates are stupid, Nolan.
Yeah,
debates are pretty stupid, but we would like to talk to him because debates are just like, oh, I'm gonna win, you're gonna win. Like, that's fucking stupid. And anybody that thinks that debates solve anything, you're kind of like low IQ son of a bitch. But I'd like to talk to him for sure.
I mean, I'd love to pick the brain of Nerdrotic or Critical Drinker. Jesus, yeah.
We've said this stuff. We've put out, we said we would talk to EFAP. They refused to. They label this bad faith so that they don't have to talk to us. Which is
by the way, I mean, it's their cope. It's like, oh, they're bad faith, we can't talk to them. It's their way to just discredit somebody without actually explaining anything.
And then Nerdrotic is they've kind of mentioned Organized Chaos, so they know who he is, but then they just in the same breath they'll yeah, we're not going to talk to him. Like, these guys can't defend the things that they say, Nolan. And I'm not talking about debate. I'm talking about if we were like, hey, can you explain this obvious misinformation that you've put out? And like, these guys would not be able to back it up or defend it in any kind of logical, honest way, because it's just simply false in a lot of cases, or it's dishonest. And we've proven that. You can watch our videos and see how we've proven that multiple times. Bob's shown Nerdrotic to be fucking full of shit. I don't know how many times.
I mean, I will say, like, it's kind of entertaining to disprove him, but yeah, like, I will also say, like, doing like a 10-minute Nerdrotic video usually takes me at least an hour. There's just so much shit packed in there.
Who was it that was it Ed, or who put out a video that was like breaking down the time of his like his video? There's some review, like how much of his actual video was about a review and how much of it was just.
I think that was Ed. Pop Counterculture. You guys subscribe to him too.
Don't know if you've seen this, but here's the main reason EFAP won't debate you. I don't see anything. Is there a link that you're sending that I can't see in StreamYard chat? Maybe.
It's not in my chat, so he would have to be in yours.
Ed and the Marvels. That's what it was. Is it? I mean, they've said we're bad faith, right? Like, because they say I'm bad faith because I've said, simply, if it is objective, then why do we disagree? And they think that's bad faith when it is just, it really just kind of proves the premise of their bullshit is bullshit. I feel like they could like prove that's somehow bad faith, or that it's somehow, I don't know. It seems pretty obvious if you understand what words mean. You understand what objective means. That if you and I disagree that this thing is objective, it is not objective, right? Because if it was, we'd agree. And lots of people disagree. Like, they're actually in the minority. They think they're in the majority. They present themselves as being like the one true way to review films and talk about films and stuff. But it's bullshit. Anyway. And then they also made sure to poison the well with me by mentioning Chunky Monkey. There's like the first time that they ever mentioned me was in that regard. So that was very clever on their part, so that they could like poison the well with their audience and never have to address me, because they would not end up looking great.
Dude, like Greg, we're not talking about PP Little. We know he destroyed us.
Why do people keep bringing him up? Fuck. I'm tired of it, dude.
Listen, people scream cope when I talk about people, and I do.
It's like our lowest moment as the initiative, and personally, why can't you stop, Greg? You're actually abusing us now.
It's very sad.
But at the same time,
I don't get offended by shit.
No, it's good my camera's off during that whole time. I'm just smoking.
Yeah, me too. I can't do that kind of thing if my camera's on, because I'll just give it away.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's see. Oh, I was gonna do this. My bad, y'all. Let me get this thing up in here. We can do this thing, and then we're out of here.
Mm-hmm.
But also, if you're not subscribed to the Initiative channel, you should be. We need you guys over there, really. Like, we need you guys over there watching those videos, hitting the thumbs up and everything, because that channel gets hit hard by these chuds. They are really, really upset that channel exists, I guess, because we just do really good uploads over there. I don't know. It's the only thing I can take from it. They are very coordinated in attacking that channel and downvoting it, and kind of frustrating. Like, the downvotes are one thing. It's like, yeah, give us the engagement, but the comment section is really awful over there, and I hate it. And let's get over there and do some commenting in that comment section and create a better thing. I don't know, or not, whatever. Sorry, I'm falling all over the place today. It was not an ideal morning for me.
I'm a little off today too. I don't know if you've noticed, but yeah, I feel like as day goes by, I'm getting better. But yeah, I don't know why I'm off. I had a really good day yesterday, so.
I mean, thankfully, Mr. TARDIS is an excellent guest. We've been getting a lot of comments on the guests we've had lately. And look, we're just getting started, guys. We got a list of some people. It might surprise you. We're going to take some swings.
Mm-hmm. No, I saw the list, and I'm like, and there's actually these people that we have leads on that I'm excited about. I'm like, ooh, that's awesome.
True. We're talking, we're going to looking at comic book creators, comic book commentators, film commentators, maybe even some filmmakers, or even some YouTubers who are just basically have a large enough profile they may as well be filmmakers to some degree. We're gonna be trying. We're gonna be trying. I'm telling you. But here is on the way out. Please hit subscribe and then head over to wherever the link is that I'm sure Dean has put in chat by now. Check out Return of Jake Sunrise.
There's some stories going round about this wayfaring stranger. Those who whisper of his past know his coming means danger. But maybe there's hope to be found when he silently arrives. For no trouble can outlast the return of Jake's sunrise.
My name's Actual Fandom, and I've gained some powers. See that? Subscribe, or this could be your dog.